We are MIH Mastermind, and today we have Sharpline team also supporting our Mastermind group.
Yes.
We have this amazing network because these two guys, Marco over there, Barbara, and Chris Jackson. Can we have a round of applause for them? So we have both seasoned investors and newcomers here in this room. I just wanted to thank you again for coming all the way. I know there are a couple of outsiders here. I'm from New York local, and let's see, how many of you from out of state? You see a lot. So, what states do we have? We have California here. She flew, by the way, stand up, Diana. She flew just for this from California. She flew back. Who do we have? Pennsylvania. Okay, here, Pennsylvania table.
Iowa right there.
Iowa. Wow, Iowa. And Delaware. And next to is Texas. Dallas, Texas. Arizona. Who else? Another California. Florida. Another Pennsylvania here. Who else? Washington. Seattle. Oh my God. So you see, but she's also flew last night just for this, and she's coming. Her flight is 5 o'clock today. She's flying back. So literally, there are some people who came here just for this, and together with MIH and Sharpline, we really appreciate you guys, your time, and this Saturday, beautiful day. We're here in a dark room. Thank you. I was thinking, I was always telling my friends, like, okay, whenever I have a presentation to make, like, what do I do? And usually it comes down to, okay, one topic, which is power connection. I believe in power connection, and I think everything I do is being done through a connection to a great people. And I want to share a little bit of my story today and to show how a power connection, I lived through the power connection. Okay, my little background, I'm a W-2 attorney, still full-time, part of firm, father of 2 girls, so I have a family. And as you know, you have 2 teenage girls, how busy you are, right? And being an attorney, I used to pull like 60, 70 hours easy. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it because I love to work and I love litigation. So that was me, always working hard and trying to think about like in the future what can I do. But soon I realized, okay, is this something that I want to do for the rest of my life? Right? I started questioning myself. And my conclusion was, oh, it was not. Mainly because I felt like I was always limited. I was limited in where I have to go every morning. I had to go to the court. I had to go to, I guess, schedule a day before. Next day I know. Only a night before I know where I have to go tomorrow morning. Like I go to Queens, I go to Bronx, I go to Staten Island, and time-wise too. I was always limited. So I wanted to achieve freedom of time, place, and occurrence. And I started having some reflection of myself, my life, and I realized later that I could only achieve the time freedom and place freedom through building a system that could give me a sustainable passive income stream through an asset. And did I know how to do it in the beginning? No, I did not. So what do? I go online and search and start emailing, start following people. And through that journey, I met a great group of people. We called MIH Mastermind. And it's created by 2 guys, Mark Balro and Hadaro Kiwi, who's not here. And I joined this group, and soon after, this MIH group started working together with Sharpline. So I have 2 mentors here, Mark Balro and Chris Jackson, who have shaped who I am today now for the last 5 years. And I really, I feel really grateful for that. And I will continue this journey with them and build this friendship. So, what is the sustainable passive income stream system? I wanna show you how power connection allowed me to build that system. So
Joseph, you didn't mention a funny story, how when you called me and you wanted to join the group, I had to call and talk to my brother because you're in another group just saying it. And I'm like, I called you back. I'm like, you got to wait 6 months. And Joseph was like, no, I need to join right now. And he kept calling me until I let him in. So one thing you notice about that, Joseph's an action taker. So people who are successful in life are action takers and don't debate on should I join now or should I know, I don't know, sure. Is you're going to see everything that he does in life, he's an action taker. So that's the one thing I loved about him, and I knew he was going to do good.
I remember he rejected me 3 times. But I was adamant, I was persistent. The 4th time he was like, okay, I'll let you in.
Warm down.
Warmed up, yes. So now I plugged into I plugged myself into this community. And in the beginning, many of you I already met through MIH Mastermind, like-minded go-givers. And I started surrounding myself with these people. I couldn't have certain conversations with my own friends because they'd be like, oh, you're an attorney, you don't have to worry about it. Oh, you can't do that because it's in New York, it's too expensive. But with this group of people, I was able to freely converse about, okay, how do I achieve this system by investing in multifamily investing, multifamily asset class. I learned how to underwrite the deals. I learned how to network with people. I learned how to talk to the brokers, things like that. But education is one thing, as you all know. Education is always one thing. As you're surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals, you're actually tapping into a network of people where you can always fall back, you can always be open to, you can always be authentic. Being authentic is important because you're opening up yourself. Sometimes we try to show only a strong side of ourselves, only the positive side. But with this group of people, I openly open up with Marco. Hey Marco, do you think this partnership is great? He will open up too. No, think it twice to get into this deal, or think it twice before networking with these people, because this and that reasoning. I have a mentor, I can fall back and ask questions. I know if I make a mistake, it's going to come and help me to fix it. Is that right, Marco?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm every deal. So for the new people, Joseph started in MIH 2020. He had 0 deals. Lawyer. He has a Pilates business with his wife, and now he bought a Korean bakery because we're buying businesses. And he just bought a golf course. But he's in 22 plus GP deals with me. He's in part of my companies. He does all the legal due diligence and everything for my companies. So, and by the way, he didn't start with a lot of money. People have this limiting belief where I crush his limiting belief. You need a lot of money to start. You need to take action like Joseph did.
So I put up ENA. After reviewing my 5 years previous experiences and my journey, this is the 3 words I boil it down to. ENA, education, networking, and action. You gotta know what you're talking about. We don't know until we know what we don't know, right? So, learn it from your peers, your friends, or your mentors. Go to online, read the books, do whatever, but education is very important because you gotta know it. And then next thing, is networking. And you guys are here today, Saturday. You could be going out and with your family, but you're here, a bunch of real estate investors. I think it's great. It's a great opportunity to introduce yourself and to learn about the others. And only through the networking, you'll get plugged into a group of amazing people that might be your future partners. Right? And take actions. You can read like 30 books and do nothing. Right? It doesn't really get you anywhere. So once you learn something, once you meet people, now you're gonna follow up. Reach out to them. Call them later. Like, hey, I'm so-and-so. I met you in the Yale Club the other day in New York City. You told me about you, and I was interested about the deal. Can I get to know you? Can we get on the Zoom call? This is action. And once you take that action, it will lead to the next action. These small actions will lead to the next phase, and you don't know where you're gonna be ending up, right? Like Robert said, Marco said, I started my first deal in 2020. And it was my very first multifamily deal. I never done any singles before. So 44 unit apartment, only because I had a mentor who taught me how to underwrite the deal and get into the deal, right?
The first deal me and Yosef, I got him into, we bought a 44 unit in Lawrence, Kansas. We bought it for 1.7 million, raised the rents from 500 to 900. He put in about 100,000, I think. I think I had 2 in the deal, whatever. And we increased the rents that much. 16 months later, the deal was worth $3.4 million, 2x. We refinanced 100% of our money out, tax-free because we're not selling it, and the money was still in the deal. So our money in the deal was now, my 200 was worth 400, and I cashed out 200. And I was so happy to do that because I wanted him to show his wife, who maybe didn't believe in him yet, the power of multifamily. Okay, so then we ended up wanting, that deal we were going to hold forever, going to my kids. I have 28 generational wealth deals going to my kids, but I wasn't happy with a certain situation on a deal from somebody on our team, so I told them we're selling it. So that's when we turned around in a bad economy, and I knew it. If we sold it now, we'd get $4 million for it. We sold it for $3.2 million. We 3x'd it 300% in 2 years. So we bought it for 1.7, 3.2 million. I got put in 200. I think I got out 600. You put in 100 and got out 300. I think. So give or take the numbers. I didn't look them up exactly, but that's the first deal I got him into.
Right. So starting from that deal for the next 2 years with Marco and with Sharpline team, I got into about 20, by now 22 deals together, all multifamily and some small JVs, and that was part of Connection, part of MIH Mastermind. And in 2023, real estate got a little slow, right? Market cycles and interest rates. So I was thinking about pivoting a little. And in 2023 summer, with another partner, we acquired a little cafe bakery nearby my office. So in 2023, we did a big business acquisition. And in 2024, with Marco, we've been talking, and Marco always brings up these great ideas, and sometimes they get killed, right? So it's not so great sometimes, but most of the time he has a great ideas. So we were talking, and he brought up this idea of private lending. So with a couple of my Mastermind people, we did private lending too. Where's Mike? Right there. Mike and Angie, they're doing the flips in Westchester. Also, we're MIH Mastermind. So we funded, and now what's going on with the deal?
It's on the market. We got showings.
All right. Do we have any?
Some guy coming from New York. Look, he might take it as a vacation house.
Okay, great. So another MIH Mastermind business acquisition story. And 2025, I started looking into new market only because Robert Musso was not here, and where's Jennifer? Oh, Jennifer, the team. They're from Pennsylvania. Jennifer has, by the way, you should network with her. She has great company, brokerage firm, her own fund, real estate investment company. Just because Jennifer and Robert Musso, but for them, I would have never thought about investing in Pennsylvania. But because them, I looked into the deal, I liked it, so I went into the deal. So now we're partners, and
but the most important thing you forgot, why do we do the deal? So Mark, I buy 20 units to 400 units. We bought 2 4 units. That's how I started when I was 23 years old. My father, who didn't go to college, taught me to do. I flew out my 2 daughters, and he brought one of his daughters. We bought the 4 units for our daughters, to teach our daughters how to do this. So I don't need the deal. I have 51 deals. But that's the whole power of what we're doing. First, we're doing family first. And yes, we're here to invest and make money, but I'll go into that later. And we have a great picture of me, you, and your daughter, and my daughters.
Yes. And one day, Marco called me. He also said, "You got to network with this guy, Mauricio. He just joined MIH Mastermind. He has some deals, and maybe you could refer the deal to somebody who's interested in JV." So I got on a call with him. Great guy from San Antonio. I spoke to him, showed me the deal, and I'm like, "Well, can I be part of it?" I said, "Of course." So I ended up investing in that San Antonio 10-unit JV deals. And I always wanted to go into Texas, but I didn't know how. But just by this one phone call, now I have a deal in Texas, and now I have a partner in Texas. Again, power of connection. Just by one phone call. 2025, most recently, I got another business acquisition done with my fellow partners, Ryan and where's Cipriano? Right there. These 2 guys, awesome. Just pure, amazing people, especially Ryan.
Oh, wait, you like him more than Sip? Sip, you're all right, dude. You're okay. You're all right. Yo, bro, you owe him like 2 beers tonight.
I love you.
So, Joseph, you're the best.
Ryan He's a civil engineer from Pennsylvania. His dream, one of his dreams was to have a golf course, to own a golf course. He chased this owner for about a year and a half. For a year and a half to get that golf course, and now finally he bought that golf course together with me and Cipriano. And actually last week we had a soft grand opening. My family went up, Cipriano, Junko was there, and Ryan's friends, and it was awesome. Just we played golf. I don't play golf, so I was doing a go-karting with my wife. And then we had food. We have a little nice restaurant and a little bar there. So we have all these plans lined up, doing business development, and also he has a 99-acre, and some of them are, 50 of them are just woods. So we're gonna remove some trees and do tiny cabins and Airbnbs, right? Is that right? Right?
Yes, there's 35 acres of golf course, 66 acres of undeveloped land.
66 was it?
66, yep. So we're gonna do mini golf, driving range, tiny homes, driving, I think I said, a chip putt area. So a lot of potential, and we're gonna cut off excess land and sell that as well.
Ryan, tell how old you are, the two people.
I'm 31.
31 years old, guys. Okay? He has, what do you have, 2 kids or 3?
3 now.
You have 3 now.
4-year-old,
His wife's not
2-year-old.
working. He's got a great job as an engineer, but not super high salary, because you're thinking he must be making like $600,000, $800,000 a year. 30-year-old. He's not, like I said, he's not making a ton of money, but it's the power of the room. He called me, and now we're buying businesses. He called me to thank me. He says, Marco, I would never have done this if it wasn't for you, because on the chat, I give tips every day about buying businesses, marketing, global expansion, everything. And I gave him about 5, 6, 7 free calls on everything I did 25 years of the restaurant. Then calls me, and I said, Ryan, I'll take the thank you, but you took action, and you listened to me, and whatever. And actually, because of his age, I wanted him to wait a little bit. But he's like, I want to do it, it's my passion, and he did it at 31 years old.
Yeah, and Cipriano, what's next? What else do we have?
Well, I'm unemployed, so I need to find a job soon.
So we have all these amazing plans, but how do we connect? How do you connect?
Yeah, I mean, MIH, right? I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, me and Ryan kind of hit it off. We're in the same place, looking at flips, and we're just action takers, right? We just made it happen. Like, I mean, we were in contact constantly. Obviously, built a strong relationship, right? And yeah, that's...
You don't invest first. We build family first
Correct.
for 6 months.
Correct.
Do I know anything about golf course business? No.
Nothing. I
Nothing.
don't even swing a club.
But why do we invest? Do I want to invest something that I don't know? No.
With people, right?
Yeah, with people.
Yeah.
Like I have my trust in these people, and it was stronger than the uncertainty of the business. So I went in because I wanted to do something together with these two.
100%.
And now it's cash flowing, amazing plans, and we had fun last week, right?
Good time.
Good time, good time. All through what? Power of connection. So I jotted down some things. Consistent learning and bold action builds up momentum. And then upon that, strategic connections is where the expansion comes from. You can have all the knowledge, you can take all the actions, but that only gets you on the momentum. Unless you build that momentum to an expansion stage through networking with the right people and right group, the candle is gonna be blown away, right? Network, we always say network is your network, right? But I think right network is the multiplier, right? It's not just a network, it's a network multiplier. And in the end, you also need to be someone that who can open the doors for others. Like, I always get helped by Marco, and whenever I call Chris Jackson, I always learn something new, and it's just mind-blowing how smart he is. But now what? I know this knowledge. What do? When I network, I gotta pay this forward, right? So in our network, we don't just learn and do my own thing. We also try to teach and give back, because we gotta be the one who opens the door for others as well. So I want to question you, like, who is in your circle, right? Who is sitting next to you? Who is in this room? I know we started as a networking, and I specifically asked you to sit down with somebody who you've never spoken to or uncomfortable with, but I know we don't really listen to that, right? we like to sit with somebody who's comfortable, but try to break it up. try to think of outside the boxes and break out your own comfort zone and plug into new people who might be your next partner. And keep showing up, keep building, and keep networking. Thank you. You're next.
So I was going to have a long presentation for the group, but I brought a special speaker in today. I'm very excited about it. Someone I'm very, very close with. Many, many years, I'm going to go into it. So two things I want to talk about today is something he was the power of this room and like a global thinking on things we're doing, like businesses and stuff like that. Because our group is started by businesses. I ran my restaurant 25 years. I own 3 or 4 businesses. I've had prior businesses that I sold. So it's all going to tie into, I'm going to show you my journey of the restaurant, and now I'm tying into that global aspect into multifamily. So first I want to share some quick wins. Joseph stole my thunder a little bit about Ryan, so I'm very proud of him. I really went into that, how he called me at 31 years old, is if he was not in our group, he would never have done that. He would not have it. He has me, who blood, sweat, and tears, I ran my restaurant, built it to $3 million in sales. I was going to $5 million and $10 million, but I did so well in multifamily that I called out of me all day, and I'm like, dude, if I could sell that restaurant, I'd be in Japan right now training Japanese chefs how to open Italian restaurants. That was our plan. That's why I'm going to go global with this. People open restaurants here and sell food here to people. That's not what we're doing. I had students in Africa, Spain, Peru, Italy, everywhere, and I'm going to go into that aspect. So that's one. Chris Jackson, my partner in the back, right here. We just closed an 80 unit this week. We just refied a 62 unit, giving back about 20-30% or something. Capital doesn't know yet. He's going to look to investors when multifamily is in recession and there's foreclosures. And we have a 64 unit contract to sell. 3 huge wins when we're in a multifamily recession. Okay, so that's awesome. And Lauren, congratulations on our team with all that right now. Yes, and Joseph went over it. Like I said, 22 plus GP general partner deals with me and growing, and we own a bunch of businesses together. And I have to slow him down. He's like my taller, little annoying brother who keeps calling me and wants to open up businesses. And we actually have an LLC for like a media company that we're not going to do for a few years. Okay. So Raymond, my cousin, for the people who don't, I might know Joseph. My cousin Raymond, I built a plan for him in 2018. You become who you surround yourself with. He had a great job in Elmsford with as a manager position in a big optical company. He was doing great, but he is in 24 plus GP deals with me. He retired from that in 2021. Moved down. I was from New York in Westchester. We moved down to Florida, and he works with me at the beach basically 5 days a week. He was supposed to only work 4 days a week, but he's currently working like 7, and I'm not going to give him a raise. No, so that's Raymond. And Jennifer right there. Robert's not here today because Robert's at a funeral for one of his uncles. But we just closed on the 2-4 families for our daughters. We have a 17-unit A-class in contract. Right now, it's a JV MIH family deal. We're bringing all MIH members in, and we're just growing right there. And then that's it on that. So let me get into, that's the power of this room. Let me get into global. I don't like doing my intro because it's mostly MIH family here, but there are, I didn't think there was going to be that many non-members. Who's Marco Barbaro? Most importantly, I'm the father of 3 daughters. That's what I've been doing with, for example, my book, I wrote it with Lauren. Why? Because like I was telling the young ladies from Iowa, I have MIH is built on law of attraction for Tony Robbins. And because of my daughters, my wife, I'm surrounded by a lot of women. It's just amazing women, and even in MIH. And I had a post up of like 7 women that are in my group that have like 8 plus deals because of what we're doing. And Lauren she's in 2 years, and me and Lauren have 4 deals together and a book, and I haven't met her husband yet. They're in California, and me and her husband, she joined the Mastermind, and I'm putting up cooking videos, and me and him are texting back. He's like, Marco, I just made your brisket, man, and he's like, I gotta meet him, and he was supposed to come to an event, but something happened with the kids. Yeah, and I was supposed to be there, but I had to be here. But in 2 years, we have 4 deals together, and we wrote a book together. So that is who I am. I started out in the restaurant business when I was 21, turned the job down from G Capital, and went to restaurant with my brother and father. And the whole, make it a long story short, I started with a 4 family. And along the journey of the restaurant, I won 12 awards. And I thought I was gonna do that till 65. So in 2008, I started, when that recession hit, I started doing cooking classes. And I didn't meet Adam yet. And I was doing some social media. And then I met Adam, and he saw my talents. And I started seeing what he was doing. And I told you, as people were just doing restaurant stuff locally, what's impressive he's going to go into. In 2020, when COVID hit, everybody's like, let me get online and sell videos online. I was doing cooking classes just to open up your mind and expansion. I would do 25 people in-house at like $150 a person. I was making great money. And social media, I was booking them, fully booking 25 a year. This is another income stream on top of it. We launched a marinara sauce company. I have a knife set you source from China at $5 a knife set. I was selling for 25. I was creating income streams crazy in the restaurant. You know, that was just, it was, every year I would come out with something new. So he goes like this to me in 2012 when nobody was doing this. He goes, we're gonna put a live feed in your kitchen and you're gonna do 6,000 to 10,000 people across the whole world at $25 and you're gonna charge 150 to 25 people a year. And I was like, holy cow. I was young, I was nervous, I wasn't ready for it. I wish I did it. I didn't do the laundry, but I was going there. In 2018, we were building a plan for me to go global. I built a Udemy course and I was starting students from all over the world. It was amazing. That's the global thinking. You gotta like, it's you're all in. And then my friend was already doing it. We were gonna go to Japan. I was gonna start training Japanese chefs, authentic Italian food in there to open up Italian restaurants. I was gonna go to Spain, Italy, do cooking classes in Italy. He teaches in Mexico. You don't do Taekwondo, you do some specialized, what's it called?
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. He goes to teach in Mexico, he teaches in Japan. That's the whole global aspect, and that's how I was gonna get to 5 million, 10 million, and if I didn't do good multifamily, I had a call, a 2-hour call the other day. We were just supposed to have a 10-minute call, and that's what happens. How if I didn't hit in multifamily, what we were doing with the marinara sauce company, with everything at my restaurant, it was amazing. So, giving 3 examples of things we did. For example, Christmas Eve, I transfer all social media to multifamily. That's what I do now. I would look at every month and I'd be like, Adam, the first week of the month in December's the busiest month of the year, but the first week is a little slow. I want to juice up sales. I came out with a campaign for gift sticker promotion, and I sat with him a month before. We did a 4-week campaign. It's not advertising, it's a campaign of videos for moms and dads and Christmas and stuff. And all of a sudden, we launched this promotion that I did with him. Buy a gift certificate, something 25 off. My brother calls him on Saturday morning. He goes, what the hell did my brother do? He goes, what'd you do with my brother? There was $50,000 in 2 days in the bank account. $52,000 in 2 days. And that month turned out to be like the best month ever from that. We made like say $80,000 that month in profit. Okay? So he said, your brother did a gift certificate promotion. My brother was really calling me up, he's like, great job, dude, you know. So that's one. Mother's Day, I'll just give you an example of so now like what I'm learning from Gary Vee, I started learning from him. And I transferred all this to multifamily to create this family, this hyper-focused family. I don't let in random people. I go by law of attraction from Tony Robbins. I attract what I want. And I'm not scaling, I keep it hyper-focused. That's why when somebody joins, like, oh my God, everybody's amazing. It's because that's what I'm doing. It's very specialized, what he taught me. I'm very granular in my marketing. I'm very granular in my advertising and what I want. And I turn away what doesn't fit for our group. And every group who's scaling takes anybody, even if they're not the right fit. That brings in negative energy. So Mother's Day, we do about $42,000 a week. I'm just gonna make up the numbers again. The restaurant. So I told him, I said, yo, let's do a campaign for this. Work it out, 4 weeks. First video I sent out the emails and the blasts was a result of Primavera for moms, come get it. Second was almond crusted salmon. Third was black and pomegranate organic salmon. And we'll do the videos and the moms would see it. And who makes most of the reservation? The moms. So that week with his promotion, we did 52,000, 10,000 more. If you did 3,000 more that week, that's like a huge bump. We took home, say, like $14,000 that week. Like, it was amazing. The following year, he comes to me, he's like, yo, let's get the promotion ready 4 weeks ahead. I had to let go of one of my main guys in the kitchen. I had a new guy training. I'm like, dude, I can't do the promotion. We'll be too busy, and this new guy can't handle it. We didn't do it, and I did about 43,000. That's the night, and I called him up, I'm like, dude, this stuff is working. It's just different thinking, different, not cookie cutter, click funnels and all that stuff. And then number 3, I told you, this is going into the global. I built a Udemy course, and I look back at the course is okay, because I was kind of in the beginner stage now. If I do it now, I could rip 10 videos with him a day. I'm doing like such amazing videos with Rob. I'm in the process of writing a cookbook with Rob Musso, one of the members, and I'm gonna go global with him now in about 2 years. So I need to close deals because these are the years to close deals. So I'm not gonna do it now as much as I want to, but we're gonna work on the cookbook, and he's gonna get into what he wants me to do, which is pretty unique. Has something to do with the Pope, but I'll let him get into that. But I built a Udemy course and I started getting students, and he's like, yeah, dude. He's like, you're gonna be teaching students all over the world. He's like, your restaurant's just to sell Italian food, but the bigger picture is that. So it's like, you have to build a plan on it. He's gonna go into all that. Let's see. And then transfer to multifamily. Everybody in my group now sees 3 people, I always say for new people that I follow who shape my lives, is Tony Robbins for Business Mastery 1 of Law of Attraction and running businesses. And then Gary Vee's number 2 for marketing and social media, which is Gary Vee's helped me become limitless, where I go speak at an event and it's just, my life has become limitless from this, and I'm teaching limitless to my group. And number 3 is David Goggins, who, if you don't know him, curses a lot, ex-Marine dude, really crazy, and we don't want to get out of bed and do something. He says, get the fuck out of bed and get it done. So follow David Goggins if you can handle the cursing. He's great. They're all 3 are great. Number 4 is my buddy Adam Mitchell, who has trained my brain to, Google took David Goggins, train your brain, and our brains are computers, and you need to start thinking better and bigger. And he's going to go into the bigger. And in 2012, I started thinking bigger and better, and that's the whole aspect of whatever W-2 you're in, whatever business you're in, whatever thing you want to conquer is just really do it. And just, that's it. So in saying that, I want to hand it over to my friend Adam, and he's going to introduce himself.
So, well, thank you, everybody. I want to thank you for welcoming me here. None of you know, well, a couple of you know who I am. Some of you who go back with the Aquisition community.
One last thing, by the way, he's not going to brag about as much.
No.
But who knows Jake and Gino?
Anybody? Okay, cool.
He built the whole platform. The
Yeah,
whole
okay.
thought behind it.
Hold on. You're still
Go ahead.
on.
Because you're going to happen to
So,
go ahead.
first of all, I just want to thank you all for welcoming me here. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect to come down and speak to such a wonderful group, wonderful community. So I apologize. I made these slides on the train down. Yossi will tell you, last night I was like, I don't have a slide deck.
He's like, last night I texted him, send me some slides. He's like, I don't have a slide.
So-
and when he showed up, it's like, boom, I have some slides.
Hello, I'm Adam.
Before I get started though, and share with you a couple things, I really, I want to share something with you. Marco touched on a couple of points, and I've known Marco and his brother now for 25 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. And when he talks about family, I'm here to tell you, everything that he's saying it's not enough. Marco, before I say anything, I have to tell you how proud your father would be of you right now. So, when my son, I have 4 children, I'm a father of 4, and when my son, who's now 23, he works in New York City unions, gets up at 4:30 in the morning, clicks his heels, he's singing in the rain, he loves it, he gets in his van, he drives to the city, he loves working, doing commercial HVAC. He's 23 years old, he does $90,000 a year, and the union's paying for him to finish his degree. He loves his work. When he was 1 year old, we would go into the restaurant that Marco just told you about. And his father would look out, I'll never forget this. This is one of the greatest memories I have of how to do business with him. His father would look out the window of the kitchen door, and he would see that there was a little boy sitting in one of the booths. And he would go, and within 5 minutes, his father would be coming out with a big pan of Zeppelins. Did I pronounce it right, Zeppelins?
Yes.
Yeah. Just to give to every time there was a child, or there was a family, he would come out with fresh Zeppelins in charge of. He would want the children to have Zeppelins. And every time I ordered, because my wife was pregnant, I had to get some takeout, Marco would give me a bag of food to take home. And there was more food than I could eat that week. And he never charged me, because it was family. And I'm sharing this with you because I really want to drive home for you, from someone you don't know, you've never met before. but someone who knows him. When he talks about family, how much is behind that? He's not saying that as a marketing word. It's not a gimmick. It is very, very real. It's just, I just want to tell you, Marco, good for you.
Thanks.
I'm very proud. I also want to say that when we talked about teaching globally, you said, I was going to do that. My friend, you did do that. Joseph just had people stand up who came here to listen to you and the community that you and your partners put together. From Washington, from California, from Florida, from all over the country. You're doing it. And I couldn't be more proud to be here, to be asked to be present with this community and to be able to share. So I just wanted to start with that. Thank you very much. Okay, so, hi, my name's Adam. When I was asked to speak to this community, I wondered what I could deliver. I'm not a real estate investor. In fact, I've never bought a business. In fact, when I was in 8th grade, I got on a court order sent to a Benedictine monastery to live for the next 3 years to get out of the town of Newport, Rhode Island, because the police department had enough of me. And I had a pretty unique upcoming. As I was thinking about what I could offer all of you, I knew that we have something in common, and that is a desire to grow and a desire to expand. Marco, when we were putting together those programs that he just shared with you, first of all, I want to share another part of that story that really kind of pissed me off at the time. Marco wasn't doing social media. He wasn't doing sending stuff out. He really sort of, he didn't put enough color to that. What we did is we changed the way of approaching and posting content on social or running an ad for an event. Changing it to creating campaigns, to campaigning, not doing ads, not promoting something, but actually having human touch points with people. I'm not going to tell you how we ran these programs back then, but we were really, as a restaurant, nobody was doing what we were doing back then. We were doing, he calls me, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, and he pulls into the restaurant. The parking lot is filled, and there's a line of people at his pizza place waiting to be part of this program. It was very, very successful, and it was because he made it human. Now, as I was putting this together, I was thinking to myself, well, how could I talk about what I did? It was Jake Stenziano and Gino Barbaro and myself who started Jake and Gino. And if I could share with you maybe a little bit about that story and how that came to be and how you can use some of that in your own business, because I don't know what your business is. I'm assuming most of it's real estate, multifamily, maybe some commercial, getting into partners, doing some network. But by the time I'm done talking, and I hope not to be here for more than a half an hour, because I know your time is valuable, but I really want to encourage you to think a little bit differently. I hope I can change your perspective just a little bit, like I did with Marco, like I did with Gino. I am a martial artist. I grew up doing judo as a child. Like I said, I had a little bit of a crazy upbringing. That's another story for another time. However, I ended up wanting to get out of the lifestyle that I was in as a young man. I ended up going to Japan, finding my teacher, my sensei, who became like a father to me. He retired this year after 65 years of teaching. And my story is that I wanted to create something in honor of him, a traditional martial arts school. I wanted it to be a nonprofit, and I wanted to work with children to give them what they had given me, but to not have one of these cookie cutter martial arts schools. And I also wanted to teach adults. So I created a business in MIH, New York. One day my teacher sends me a letter, if you remember what that was. And he asked me to reach out to the student in Florida and another student in Bermuda that had contacted him in Japan and said, hey, I need you to work with these people. Well, this was in 2005, late 2005, early 2006. They had no idea how I'm going to work with these people. I'm not going to get on a plane and go to Florida and connect with this guy. So I started really digging into internet. Now, I had launched a website in 2000 for my martial arts school, and we had already been pretty active online. But I started to study, really studying as a commitment to my teacher. If you've seen The Karate Kid, then you know how Daniel-san said his relationship was with Sensei. It's kind of like that. But I was going to make this happen. So I figured out how to do content delivery in 2005, 2006. In 2007, my story is that it was January 6th, 2007, I went live. Now, the way that we did this, you just wouldn't believe, but we started live streaming in 2007. And I'll never forget that night. We had a ding that went off. It means someone came online. And we were really excited. I'm teaching at my dojo, and we were recording tape to another camera to digitize, to push to a hard drive. It was just really, it was horrible. It was horrible. We were paying an enormous amount of money to a service that only the government and evangelical churches at the time used. But we were doing it. And that night I had a student from Mexicali, Mexico join us, which is a border town. And then 2 guys in Milwaukee, and then 4 students in Boston, and then someone in Connecticut. That was really cool. Here I am teaching at my dojo, my students, and I got myself up there on a screen that was horrible, and I had names next to it from people in different parts of the world. As I was driving home that night, things changed for me. I realized that my small, conventionally brick-and-mortar business had just gone global. That I now had access to a marketplace and a student base that was anywhere in the world. I was not limited to the penny saver in doing advertisements and competing with the Taekwondo school down the road. Well, I'm gonna accelerate here a little bit. That grew. That is still around today. And today I've got a little over 400 students from all parts of the world. I travel. I have established some schools in Mexico, different parts of the country, and I've been really fortunate for that. Well, when 2009 happened, I had some people come to me and say I need help because my contracting business is collapsing. So I started, a bunch of people came to me, a guy who's in the wine business, a bunch of different markets came to me and said, I want to do what you did. How can I do that? So I'll show you, Joseph, if you want to take your law firm. And I showed them, I replicated what I did. And I created a firm from that. Well, that firm ended up growing. A small digital agency became kind of a big agency. I helped Marco and his brother out. And then Gino and Jake came to me and they said, we've got this idea. It's going to be groundbreaking. We're going to write a book. And it's going to change the lives of a lot of real estate investors. How many of you guys have heard of Wheelbarrow Profits? Okay. So here's the cool story about Wheelbarrow Profits. I was sitting in the parking lot of a grocery store on the phone with Jake and Gino, and we're talking, what are we going to have? Like, they wanted me to market this book. They wanted me to my job was to do the Amazon box and to sell it on, do all the things. I was like, no, guys, we need to build an educational program based off the book and give the book away. That's all there is to it. Give the book away. Jake, of course, if you know Jake. Anyway, well, here we are today. And here you guys are today. And I hope that those early conversations that we had with Gino and Jake have helped you guys and have helped your businesses, helped the way that you approach multifamily. I wasn't involved in multifamily, but I was involved in helping change the way, the paradigm that Gino and Jake both approached having touch points with people in building their business. So the 3 of us launched Jake and Gino Multifamily Mastery and all that. Real estate wasn't my lane. Both of my parents were real estate investors. So I wanted to do something different. So I never, even though I talked to Gino all the time, I never got into it. So I just did because my interests went elsewhere. That agency that I just told you about, I got hired by this little company that you might have heard of. It's called the Catholic Church. They came to me in the Catholic Foreign Mission Society of America, the Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers. If any of you guys are from New York and you've been around the Austin area, then you know who they are. Well, the Catholic Foreign Mission Society contacted me to help them with their digital transformation. And they gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I continued to work with them as my one client, meanwhile helping Marco. So let's get started with my presentation. Again, I don't want to be more than half an hour. I'm going to be flying at kind of a high level here, and what I hope to do, once again, is to offer you the Jake and Gino experience, but here at MIH. When I say the Jake and Gino experience, the experience of I'm sitting with you, you have a business, you have that idea, or you have that book, and you say, what are we going to do here? What I want to do now is, if I were to go back with you and say, all right, this is what we're going to do. What would that be now? What would that look like? And there's a couple of really important things that I think each of you will want to consider as we go forward. I think I've already explained to you who this guy is and why I might, why I have any business talking to you. But if I were to do this again today, what would be the most important things for me? If I was to sit there with Gino, or if I was to sit there with Marco at the restaurant, and by the way, I sat with Marco at the restaurant in 2006, and I said, you need to create a website and you need to create a learning management system to teach people how to cook food. Remember this?
Yeah.
Remember you, Gino, and I sat there?
Yeah.
And I wireframed the whole thing out for you.
I thought he was crazy in the beginning with
You
this
thought I was
whole
crazy.
cooking, yeah.
Yeah,
And
but we
then,
did it.
yeah.
We did it. So, where do we start? We start with MTP. Now look, I don't follow Gary Vaynerchuk. Who's the guy, the 10X, the big 10X guy?
Cardone.
Yeah, Grant Cardone. I've never really seen anything from him. There's nothing here that I'm going to say to you that you don't already know. All of you know more than I know in this lane. So please understand, I'm not here to teach you something you already know. I've never had a life coach. I've never done any of that. I've consulted people and helped them with their business and to help them to change their perspective a little bit. So, does anybody know what MTP is? I think Brian would ask me. This is a massive transformative purpose. This is the one thing that I truly feel I will put all of my chips on that one table. I will bet everything that going into the new space of tomorrow with your business, if you do not have or consider having a massive transformative purpose, then you are going, I don't know how else to say it, but you're screwed. You're really, you are. You need to really consider this. And in order to get there, you need to have a massively transformative presence. Now, does that mean content, TikTok, and social media, and I gotta put some, no, it doesn't mean any of that. It means you have to have presence in what is important to you. And how is that gonna roll out, and how do we create that? I really want you to pay attention here because this isn't what you think. We're going to get into AI. We're going to get into 5 years from now, 20 years from now, and the relevancy that you have and where each of you are because you're sitting here with that guy, the leverage that you have. And it's really pretty simple. Step one, you need to get clear on you. And I know you won't know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I mean it. You need to get very, very clear on you. And you need to know what your North Star is. Again, I'm sure this is all super basic Napoleon Hill stuff. I'm sure that you all know what your North Star here is. But I'm going to challenge you to go deeper and go wider, both. Not just what Brendan Bouchard says, but go deep, not wide. You need to go both. Why? Because algorithmically, you've got a huge competition facing you. Now, what does the North Star equate to in terms of business, in terms of thinking a little bit differently and shifting the paradigm so that you can compete and build something global tomorrow? Core values, I know you know what this is. Mission, not a mission statement, but a genuine mission. And to have a vision. Again, we're going fast here, and I'm really happy to talk with any of you. There's no sales, by the way, there's no sales pitch at the end of this, so don't worry about that last 5 minutes. If you want to get on a call, or I'm going to send you to a landing page. None of that's going to happen. But if any of you want to talk about anything or challenge me, or go deeper with where you're at on any of these points, I'm really happy to do that. I'm not going to charge anybody, so don't worry. When it comes to values, there are two things. There is your shell influence and your core influence, and how you're going to approach tomorrow with your business. And whether you have an idea about, maybe I could do this. Maybe when it comes to offering amenities at one of my properties, I could build a pickleball court. I heard these guys talking about it. Or there's maybe a book that what are you going to do with this? I would challenge you. What are you going to do with this? Marco told me, how many of you guys heard Marco's going to be writing a new cookbook? Anybody? Anybody hear about this new cookbook? Give me a hand for that new cookbook. Go ahead. So we're going to get to this cookbook in a second. What I'm challenging Marco to do, and I've already reached out to a group of sisters at the Vatican we'll get to that. But when we step into this, when we talk about core values, you're either one of two things. You're either going to be communicating with your market, with your audience, through your message, from your shell influence or your core influence. This is something, again, I think this probably goes back to Napoleon Hill. This isn't anything anybody knows, but I'm just reminding you of it. Your shell influence is that you're going to be communicating false expectations to your market. You're going to be selling them stuff. You guys have seen this every day. You go on Instagram and you scroll through it. You're going to end up with a slow burn of distrust. Your community is just going to gradually more and more distrust you. I'm sure there are a ton of real estate people out there on Instagram that are doing that you're just swiping past now. You're going to eventually lead to breakdown in your internal systems, and you're going to start lacking clarity, and you're going to live in a constant state of discomfort, and what that's going to lead to is you will exist solely in imposter syndrome. However, if you shift that, and you start living from core influence, it means your communication is aligned, you're going to be speaking from core values, you're going to have constant growth in a trusted community, and community is so important right now, not because everybody online says build a community. You got to get your own app, and you got to have a Facebook group, and you got to have a free group to upsell to the community group, and then you got to have the VIP group, and then the platinum group, and then you're going to side sell through your OVOs, and all that. Forget all that. And there's a reason why you're going to forget all that. Is because AI is going to smoke you. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do faster or better than AI. And I can go deep in the AI conversation, but right now, you have to consider everything that you're going to be doing in your business comes from your absolute core influence and absolute humanity. You want to operate in clarity. This is going to give you confident choices and direction, and you're going to be leading by your core values always. So now we go to the next step. You have your values in place, you know what they are. You know that you're going to commit to them. You're going to be disciplined to them. You're going to listen to the Goggins book. He was in the Navy, not the Marines. And you're going to go all in. You're going to, what you've heard before, you're going to ride or die on your values. But you got to really do the research. You got to do the work and determine what those core values are. Because you're going to be operating on other people's core values, because that's what you're told to do. That guy online said that, or he's doing that, so maybe I should try this. And you're always going to be shifting. You're going to be doing Kiyosaki, and then tomorrow you're going to be doing Goggins, and then you're going to read this book, and you're going to be like, I don't know, Jocko Willink. No, you have to do you in this new place, in this new direction that we're going in. Your mission is not going to be a mission statement. We all have mission statements. Many of them are fluid. But I'm talking about your mission, not your mission statement, not what you have when you go to the bank and you're giving them your deck and your business plan looking for a loan. Your mission has to be huge, bigger than you've ever thought before. Why? Because it's possible. This is how you're going to outthink AI. Because AI can't think like that. It can, but it's algorithmic, it's programmatic. You understand? You're human. What makes you different is that you're creative. And I don't know where Midjourney's going to go with this. But you have creativity. You have the ability to have a human touch point. You are emotion driven. What are you going to do with that? I challenge you. You can go big. Here's how he's going to go big with that book. Marco can do this. Why? Because he thinks big, because you're here. That's how I know it. And there is a group of sisters.
Like you said, this is just a meetup. And we have people from out of state. If you tell people you came here for a 4-hour meetup for lunch and you're from Seattle, your friends will be like, what's wrong with you?
Let me explain to you what I mean by think big. And I know you're like, oh, there's another guy telling me to think big. Okay, go ahead, tell me to think big. No, Marco, before I even got up here, I was over here and I was sending some emails out. I found out who the sisters are that cook for the Council of Cardinals at the Vatican. Now, I happen to be friends with Cardinal Tagle. He was actually one of the runners-up for the Pope. And I've got a contact there. I know some people. And I think if Marco connects with those same sisters in Florida and cooks pizza with them, well, it just so happens that Pope Leo is really big on deep dish pizza. How do we know that? Well, you all know that. But if Marco can go with his dog, can cook with these sisters, and then go to the house of St. Martha's in the Vatican, and just go and teach the nuns how to cook a New York style pizza, well, that's going to get the signals. We're going to get some cardinals on board. And I'm pretty sure that with Marco's new cookbook, he could be cooking pizza with the Pope within the next year. That's what I mean by think big. And I know you think that that's crazy. I do too. You need to think like never before when you were talking about the competition against artificial intelligence, artificial generalized intelligence, and you're talking about a rapid pace of change in learning that you cannot consider. Your brain cannot think about how fast the learning is happening, and you're purchasing and all the stuff that you're like buying properties, that you're gonna get smoked. It's gonna happen so fast, and decisions are gonna be made, properties are gonna be getting bought just like you see trades happening right now. Same is gonna happen. I don't know this. I'm assuming this because I know quite a bit about AI. The reason I know it is because I've been asked to study it for the Catholic Church. So you need to think like nobody you know. You need to, when someone thinks big, you need to go bigger. And then when someone comes back at you, just like that baseball bat, you gotta go bigger, you gotta go bigger.
By the way,
hold on, you have to take a ride or die approach with this. You have to. You don't have a choice right now. Go ahead, Marco.
When I started doing this with him at the restaurant, and I'm doing it in multifamily now, guys. My competition in MIH and other places, they were afraid of me. They couldn't do what I was doing, going global and doing these cooking classes. My customers are coming in telling me, yo, we went to that competition restaurant. He was asking us, how you doing this? And they're like intimidated. So what I did with Tony Robbins is because of this, I didn't have competition. Tony Robbins said, you're your own competition, what he's getting at. Tony Robbins and these guys are telling you everything he's saying. So the word competition doesn't exist, it's made up.
No.
It doesn't exist in my dictionary. Because we eliminate competition by focusing on you and working on you. And if you're an entrepreneur and a business owner, like I went to Ponte Vecchio last night, it was a good restaurant. He was just feeding people while I was going global. It's just a big thought, especially with AI taking over and everything. So I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be that entrepreneur, if you have a business, you want to, because you guys, why I brought him today, you guys, Ryan, we're going to go big, dude. I'm going to help you slowly. We're not going. It's not like overwhelming. I already know what I'm going to do for you. My brain works so fast that, and with him right now, I already know. You guys think of tiny homes, this and that. I got a bigger vision. So over a year, 2, 3, 4 years, we're going to do it. But you're not going to have competition. Your competition is going to be scared. Okay?
Yeah, they weren't scared of him. They wanted to figure out what the hell was going on. It really was amazing. And the restaurant now that is in the place of the restaurant that he sold it to, they're great, they're good, whatever. But they don't have Vito looking out the window for your children and bringing this out, right?
Adam, hold on.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve. Restaurants usually do, like, during communion and confirmations on the weekend, they'll do like 3, 4 catering parties for the houses. Christmas Eve, I did 175 caterings in one day, like $60,000. I had to stay up for 48 hours, I'm not joking. And I was fully staffed. From, say Christmas on Friday, I would go in Thursday, I'd go home at 9 o'clock at night, lay down with my daughters and watch a movie from 9 to 11, I'd be back at the restaurant at 11. I was up for 40 hours, 8 hours straight. They picked up catering starting at 7 in the morning, and on Christmas Eve we closed at 8, early. The last seating was at 8, and it was all because of this. I fully booked the catering. It's 2 weeks out. People were calling, begging us, and we're like, no. Like, how do you book? The guy down the road, you could book a day before, get it in order. I said, I'm not the guy down the road. I'm Marco Barbaro. So, 175 caterings in one day. We used 2,000 pounds of chicken for Christmas Eve that one day, and it was a fish week. Okay? 20 bags of mussels, 200 pounds of sole. The numbers were staggering. In a little restaurant that sat 75 people. That's it. It was just, the numbers were staggering. My brother told me if I took 176, he was going to quit. I'm not kidding. We're in the back. He's like, the girl came back. She's like, Marco, I got the really good customer on. I'm like looking at her, and he's like, if you take one more order, I am quitting. I'm not showing up. Okay? That's how crazy he was getting at the restaurant. I was because 2008 to 2011, that recession almost ruined me and ruined everybody. Every restaurant was going out of business. I said I need to figure it out in 2008, and I told the story. I would pour scotch at nighttime, go home, drink a little scotch, and I cater the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. LaGuardia Airport, an hour away. I had Sloan Kettering, the biggest cancer center in New York City, from MIH, which is an hour and 10 minutes over the bridges. And I was just a family trattoria, not a fancy restaurant.
And Jake Stenziano was buying sandwiches from him, delivering them to those doctors. That's where the connection was.
Yeah.
So
And Jake was a pharmaceutical rep, giving me 30 lunches a month to every hospital in the. I covered every hospital in the area. I'm talking numbers are staggering. You can't even imagine. And what we were doing, I would have got to 10 million if I stayed there. My brother actually called me. In 2019, I got invited to a magazine. I was winning awards every year, 1 or 2 awards every year. It was just a snowball effect. I had magazines showing up to my cooking classes unannounced, like hiding on purpose, and I would get write-ups and one magazine showed up, it was 2019, invited me to write for the big magazine, to write for them. I called my brother, I'm like, dude, this magazine, he's like, stop winning awards. You're selling the place. You're doing multifamily full time now. This is my dream. My dream was getting crushed because I was doing so good with multifamily with my brother. I'm like, he's like, dude, you're done. So, but if I didn't do good with multifamily, I told him the other day, I'm like, dude, where we would have taken this was just unimaginable.
if he wasn't, really, I didn't do anything for his business. He says that I
You
did.
did, dude.
No,
You trained my brain.
Okay.
You did.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I did. I don't think I did anyways. But in terms of challenging him to think larger, in that time that he's talking about, my martial arts business, when yoga schools were closing, dance studios were closing, businesses were closing rapidly. I'm sure you guys all remember. My business shot, like skyrocketed. It was great. I built a business during that same time. And that's why I came in to assist with him. And I'm saying you have to think big like never before. You have to go like nobody you know. You have to go bigger. You have to have that ride or die attitude. And I'm saying that not just because I'm saying that and it sounds cool. I literally live it. I've rode a bicycle almost around the world. I've crossed Canada by bicycle by myself. To raise, and this is another thing I can talk about, but I heard about about a group of women in Kenya who were trying to learn how to create a textile company, and I rode my bicycle across Newfoundland in the middle of winter, 596 miles on an abandoned railroad track, and I documented the whole thing and put it on my GoFundMe so that I could raise money to get these 3 commercial Singer sewing machines for these women in Kenya, because in Kenya, as a patriarchal society and culture, if any of you have been there, then in order for a woman to have any say in their village, they need to be part of the economy. They have to have a business of some sort, and they have almost no chance. They have a chance. How do they, then if they can be, in order to be part of the village voting and have to have just the smallest amount of say, they have to be able to sell lemons or something. But if they can get outside that and go to the city and sell something, now they have a municipal vote. And then if they can get into export, then their vote becomes more and more. And in celebration of that, I was able to raise enough money to get these 3 commercial sewing machines to this village to work with someone and to get 9 women set up to build a textile business that's still running to this day. This is thinking big, and I just went out on a bicycle ride. I did it in the middle of winter. It was a little bit crazy.
You almost died like 5 times, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's another story. I'm sharing this with you because I go big. I'm not just saying this. This isn't just some nonsense to me. This is a photo of my son Luke and I were up in the Andes Mountains last year. I had gone in my work, I document people in the darkest parts of the most marginal, working with the most marginalized, whether it be in South Sudan or in the Amazon or East Africa. But I travel all over the world and I document people who've completely given up everything to go work with the poor. And like, what is their story? So if Dan is working with the poor, I'm not interested so much in Dan, I'm interested in the voice of the people he's working with and those transformations. So when I say you need to have a massive transformative purpose, I understand transformation. I understand ride or die. This photo was taken, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Youngest Pass. It's the most dangerous road in the world. There's been History Channel's done documentaries on it. It's in Bolivia, and my son and I went and we did the 44 miles of it. Now, we started at the top and descended, but people die on it all the time. And maybe irresponsible dad moment here on my part, but it was, I'm going to share with you if you're interested. Maybe here's a business thing I can do. And I'm sorry if I'm talking a lot, I'm talking fast, but I can share with you how yesterday I realized I made from a $5,000 investment, I turned it into north of $500,000. When I was having a conversation, Luke was like, "Where are you going to talk to? Like, what's this talk about with Marco?" I told him, I was like, "You know, Luke, it's these businessmen and women, and can I ask you a question, Luke?" And he was like, "What?" I said, "If we were to go back to Bolivia, and I was to give you, that cost me about $2,000. Place I worked for paid for it because I was on work, but we ended up going up to La Paz and we traveled a little bit afterwards. So all in all, $2,000. And I said, Luke's 19 years old. I said, if I was to give you $500,000 right now, 500 grand in cash, 500 grand, to erase that memory that you and I had in Bolivia, would you take it?" He said, "Not a chance." I said, "Well, what about $1 million? If I give you $1 million right now and some property that I bought from some good people I met at the Yale Club?" He said, I didn't say that part. I said the $1 million. He said, "Not a chance." $2 million? $2 million in cash. There's not a chance. So what that says to me is that's where my investment goes, me personally. That's not to say what anybody else should, but to me, that's a great return. So, ride or die. And we're up in the Andes, and actually, the morning that photo was taken, we were at about 17,000, and we went up in a truck, and we had to have our blood oxygen taken pretty regularly, and I ended up at a 63, and they were like, "You need to go flat and get on oxygen now, or you need to think like what it was." Anyway, another story for another time. I was okay. It was one of the best days of my life. Mission. I cannot stress to you enough how important this is. You must go big, like I just said. Vision. 20 years. You have to think about what your 20-year vision is. What does this mean? We could be talking legacy, but I'm not going to go too far down the rabbit hole with this part right here. But you have to think far, and you have to think big. And again, this was like Jake and Gino wanted to do wheelbarrow profits. They wanted right now. They wanted to get a book on Amazon. We invested in this guy who could get you the #1 seller on Amazon. By the way, if you guys want to do a #1 seller and be able to wear that badge on your shoulder that you're an Amazon #1 bestseller, and you can put that up on your landing page or on your Facebook short or YouTube shorts, like, great, that's easy. I can show you right now. You don't have to pay that company $16,000 to do it. I can tell you over a cup of coffee exactly how to do it, what links to go to. It's not hard. It's cool. It's cool to say you're a bestseller, but it's not hard.
And by the way, Lauren, I can get the book bestseller for us. I don't need it. I don't want to be like them.
Yeah.
We don't need it.
Yeah. So, but to think about where is Jake and Gino going to be? Where is MIH Mastermind? Where are you guys going to be 20 years from now is extremely important. Where is your business going to be 20 years from now? And that's only going to happen if you're able to define, if you're not like, look, I got to make money now because I want to get the bills paid, because the way to get here, in my opinion, and it's not my opinion, but it's how I live my life, is to always peel that onion back more. Is to say, okay, great, I've just got this deal, and I'm now financially liquid. I've got enough money, I'm financially secure, I'm financially independent. What then? Why? Why? Great, you got there. Woohoo, congratulations. Why? What's your reason? What are you going to do with it? You want to make money? That's actually not really that hard. But what are you going to do then? And maybe you do have that. Maybe you do have that purpose. But where are you now? And are you prepared for that? So let's take this massive transformative purpose and let's go live. But first, is this okay with you guys? Are you guys all right with this? I mean, you can be honest with me, like, dude, you're kind of boring me. No? Great? All right.
Great.
Okay, cool. So let's just say that you and I work together, you work with Marco on this, and you're like, hey, look, I've kind of found a new little bit of an inspiration, a little bit of, I always wanted to sort of do this. I don't know. What do we have to do? Like, what's that next step? Okay, a couple things that we have to face is tomorrow. You need to get real about what is happening right now. What the conversation I had with Mr. Stanziano and Mr. Barbaro, the conversation I had with Marco, we were to go back to the restaurant, would not be the same one at all. At all. There would be no landing pages, probably wouldn't even be a website right now. I wouldn't consider myself that. Social media, yeah, maybe. TikTok, I don't know. This really depends on your story. Each one of you have a unique proposition that you have available to the world. But let me tell you something. It is not, I truly believe, it's not in real estate, unless you believe in offering great quality housing and affordable housing, something to change the lives of others.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. If that's your thing, then awesome. You need to go huge on that. Not do it because you want to make some extra money, but go big. Otherwise, you got to find that MTP and what it is. And what does tomorrow mean? Tomorrow is going to bring automation overload. If there's anything that you need to just kind of think about, this crazy bald guy with tattoos that lives in a boathouse on a lake, it doesn't really, I'm a real minimalist. There's everything I own I can fit in my Jeep. I don't live that because it's cool. Like, I live that because that's genuinely who I am. I'm going to tell you right now, this pay attention to. Automation overload is extremely important. What's going to happen? Everything that you've seen it in the last year. Well, last year is going to turn in the next 6 months, and then 3 months, and then every single process that you can think of outside of love and creativity and service, human service, and faith, I might even go as far to say, is going to be automated. And people are going to become very overwhelmed from automation, very overwhelmed. Because of that, people are going to begin to and are currently losing their purpose, their place in this world. Why am I here? And they start asking existential problems and looking for different solutions that they're not going to find because they're overloaded with automation. Yes, of course, it's going to happen with the jobs. Don't worry about that. What you need to consider is that people are going to start losing their sense of connection, their sense of purpose. They're going to become very, very socially distant. How many of you guys ever seen the movie Ready Player 1 or Ready Player 4? Yeah, right? You understand what I'm saying? People are, if you've ever been in, I was telling Marco, I told Marco in 2008 or 9, somewhere in there, there's going to come a day when people are going to be walking into Gino's Trattoria, and Gino's is already going to know what they're going to order based on algorithm. Remember that?
Yeah.
I said, what you need to do, Marco, is you need to put on a suit and tie and come out with Zeppelis like your old man did, and to pour that crappy wine that you made at your house in your basement in a barrel. And we won't tell you it's crappy. We're going to enjoy it.
Adam, do you mind if I just tie this to
Go.
real estate for a second? Just because I think this point is super important. Automation overload. You have to automate to be successful in your business right now, to scale and compete from the use of resources. But we're seeing this in the residents, prospective residents. They're getting automation overload already, feeling a lack of purpose in finding their own home through our systems that are AI, talking to them with bots. Yes, you do have to figure out a way to react to somebody quickly so they feel important, but if they're over-botted, you already feel it already. If I'm botted too much, where's the human? Where's the human? So we have to figure out using these types of AI and automation techniques to inject the creativity and purpose for somebody coming in and wants to find a home, a residential home, or an apartment with us. You have to inject the human experience because all this is tied together. They're feeling socially disconnected. How do you do both? I need to be answered to quickly, but I need to feel like I'm talking to a human. And this creativity and aggregate of using all these tools so that you can scale is how you win. If you do it too much, we're already beating our competitors that are botting everybody.
Yeah, 100%. And I want to double down on what you just said. I'm not here to tell you how to run a business. I'm assuming that you're already spending, each of you, more than 20 minutes a day learning GPT, not using GPT, but not prompt crafting, not writing prompts, not doing Google searches on GPT, but actually learning how to engineer the word syntax on GPT and using the different products that GPT is rolling out daily. going to, you know, Google's AI? What's the difference with Google's, and really continuously exploring this? Because if you are not prepared to be sunk, your battleship will be sunk. I believe firmly in this. You have to be in this. However, the outcome is what I'm concerned with, and how you're going to map yourself and plan for the outcomes here. So I've discovered 4 things. Now, where this is all coming from actually is I work with Marshall. I ran a program called Online Studio Mastery. It was because my market kind of forced me to do it, because I launched the first online martial arts school, as I just shared with you. Nobody was streaming martial arts at the time on the internet. I wasn't just broadcasting my classes, I had two-way interface going on in 07. And as a result of that, I got a little bit of a name in the industry, whatever. But I ended up creating a program called Online Studio Mastery, coaching yoga school owners, dance school owners, martial arts schools. And I was able to zoom in on 4 different areas that I want you all to really just consider. There may be more, I don't know. But through my own research and study, and with the great budget that I have in the Catholic Church, I was able to really come down to this final one, these 4 pieces. The feeling of no longer feeling needed. That's different than a lack of purpose. But I'm not needed. Nobody, my kids, that feeling like my kids aren't calling me anymore. Hey, look, I can come and help you fix the car. Like, that's gone. The enormity of this problem can't be emphasized enough. And the fact that you are successful business owners, you have, not in just real estate or in the business that you're in now, but you have not only a responsibility, but I would argue an incredible opportunity to expand, scale, grow, more important than any of that, to fulfill your transformative purpose. And I don't mean your transform, how you're going to transform. I'm going to talk about how you have the capacity, the ability, and the gift through the stuff that these gentlemen, what you're learning here with one another, to transform others, to transform communities. I mean, I'm nobody. I did it on a bicycle ride. I transformed a whole village of women so that they could vote. It's not hard. Like I said in that earlier slide, it's simple. But you're facing this. How are you going to pivot your business, your perspective, your worldview to this? Or are you just showing up to network so that you can get a good partner and maybe invest in a good deal? And I think that's great. Okay, this guy. Sadhguru said it. It's not just me. It's going to where intellectually anything you do or perform will look stupid and meaningless. This is where we're on. This is the track. Anything that you do. Okay. So this is where I'm going to kind of begin to wind down here. If you are going to be planning, or if you have your MIH, your version of Jake and Gino, what is your adjunct business? What's your side hustle? What's your 501 that you want to launch with your business? I'm encouraging you to, when you think of your own MTP, when you decide that, hey, look, this guy told me to go big, I'm going to think really big. He's a little crazy, but I'm going to go big. I'm going to think big. It has to be human. It cannot be about a P&L statement. It cannot be about, this or that. It has to just be human. Because in very, very short time, so much of what is human will not be visible. And if you can provide that, if you can provide the place and the opportunity for people to disconnect, to connect, a place for people to be sovereign, a place for people to actually be able to, what did I teach in this one course about secure, to be socially secure. I don't want to say safe spaces, but to be in a place where you know you're not going to be touched algorithmically. What's my MFP? Give me a second here. Can you guys just say hi, Simone, when she answers? I don't know if she's going to answer. She should. So, she's in Africa. She's in the island of Zanzibar. She's 20 years old. And she She goes to university in Rome. And that's her right there with her students in Zanzibar, Africa.
Is that good today?
Which is an island off of, this is video, yeah. No, she'll call. I don't know, maybe she'll. Anyway. My MFP is not my children. It's these girls. It's these kids. This was given to me when I was in Kenya. I met a boy Stephen. His parents, his mom died. I learned that if you've ever seen these kids pushing bicycles in a National Geographic photo, what they're actually doing is they're not pushing bicycles to go somewhere. They're pushing bicycles to a watering hole, and the vegetable oil jugs, they're these yellow jugs that you see all over East Africa if you've ever been there. They're at second grade. Second grade is really important because if a kid can get out of poverty, by the way, I'm not asking for anybody's money, but her name's Simone. Simone, I'm speaking with an amazing group of business. Can you hear me?
I'm in a tuk-tuk in Zanzibar. I cannot hear or see.
Okay. I love you, sweetheart. Bye-bye. Well, there you get to see a little, she's driving on a tuk-tuk. If you don't know what that is, it's like a little motorcycle. Bye-bye. So apparently my daughter's driving in the middle of the night on a tuk-tuk somewhere in Zanzibar at 20 years old. Second grade. At second grade, if you're a second grade girl, you're strong enough to carry water, and you don't need to go to school anymore. And if you have one of those old bicycles that the Brits left behind in 1963, then you can strap jugs over the top of the bicycle and you can go to the watering hole and you can get water after second grade. I learned that, and people die because they don't have water. And I said, this is ridiculous. I gotta think big here. How do I think big? I got on GoFundMe, and I did what I do. I have a gift of documenting stuff, so I started documenting this. By the time I returned home, I needed to raise money for Stephen because his mother had died from kidney failure. His father had died in a tribal war between the Maasai and Korea, and he didn't know where his siblings were, and he was alone in a village, and he was trying to get a high school education. He only had one more year left, and in order to do this, he needed $231 to finish his high school and then his village. And then after that, what do you want to do, Stephen? I want to go to vocational school so I can get a degree in electrical engineering so I can get wires to my village so that they can have electricity. How much is that going to cost? $600. How are you going to get there? Well, I don't have do you need a driver's license? Like, all these things. By the time I landed in New York with my son, 9 children. The other 8 were all smaller, middle school and up. All of their food, all of their education, all the way up to college and driver's school was paid for through GoFundMe. 9 of them. Lives changed, villages changed, everything. And it was easy. It wasn't hard. It was just a matter of having a transformative purpose and thinking bigger. And how can I do this? Now, I'm not buying property. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I'm building schools because one of the things that I realized in Kenya was that they're running off of that old British model of reading, writing, arithmetic. Memorize everything and spit it back out. Remember? And the girls there, I might get a little choked up, so stay with me, and I apologize, because these girls right now, there are 54 of them, and they live in that one room. And the reason they are there is because of the tribal wars that happened in the border of Tanzania and the Migori County. And what happens with the girls is when they are walking to and from school, they are taken off the roads and into other tribes, and the issue of female genital mutilation and what happens to these girls, the whole world is not paying attention to. So there are women who run schools to get these girls off the streets, just walking to their village, just walking home from school. They're getting snatched every day. And what happens to them after that, and by the way, I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole here. I'm building a dormitory for them, and I also realized they don't have a way to be creative, to design dresses, to make dolls, to draw, to paint, to do sculpting, to do performance, to dance. It doesn't exist in Kenyan culture and education. So I said, you know what, I'm going to build a studio. And the woman who runs the school, Madame Florence, said, okay, Dr. Mahiri, he's the governor of Migori, Kenya. He's on my side. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but right now we've begun working on 9 different approvals for schools. This is thinking big. This is what I'm inviting you to do with your businesses, is to think like this. They inspire me. This guy, am I okay on time? I'm almost
A little
done.
bit, yeah.
I'm almost done. I'm a little over?
No.
Okay, I'm going to finish up here because I'm really inspired by this man. This man right here, Marcus. He feeds every day 1,020 children and widows from the tribal wars on those rocks. Those are his ovens. He has no cooking. How hard would it be for us to go to Walmart and buy the dude some pots and pans? It's not hard, but he doesn't have it. But he, every single day, feeds over 1,000 children and widows. And I was there and I'm like, brother, we're gonna get a kitchen here. I don't know how I'm gonna go back, but I'm gonna do this. We're gonna make this happen. And this is what my MFP is, and I'm sharing you the downstream effects of that. Marco's family here is you guys. This is my family. The impact that I have on my family that Marco has with you and you have with each other, my downstream is right here. You just heard from my beautiful daughter, Simone. She's not a teacher. Simone, a teacher. She's like busy doing her nails and getting her. Listen, before she got on the plane in Rome, she had to go to the hospital. She was getting on the plane at 4 a.m. She went to the hospital at 9 p.m. because her eyelash extensions, she ended up getting glue in her eyes and she was going blind. Then she gets to Leonardo da Vinci Airport and she's like, Dad, how do I get money out of the ATM machine? I'm like, you're going to freaking East Africa with no cash? She's like, well, can't I use my ATM card? I'm like, oh my God. But it doesn't make a difference. This is what my purpose is teaching them. This is my son, Luke. He's teaching these children, you can't see it, these boys don't have shoes. They sell eggs on the street corner in Cochabamba, Bolivia to survive. And they have chickens, but they live at this orphanage. They've never seen a skateboard before and they've never used a camera, let alone an iPhone. But this day, Luke taught a whole crew of these kids how to skateboard. And what do you think happened? Yeah, that's right. I got on the phone with some skateboard companies to get freaking skateboards down there because there happens to be a skateboard park in that town. And I created a whole crew of skateboarders in Cochabamba. Okay? And there's Luke. Luke's feeding these women in Kenya. Anyway, I'm sharing this with you because I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about what Marco and Gino both created, what Marco created for you here. And to not be limiting in what you think you can do with your businesses, but to expand beyond anything you think is possible. You're limited to your own creativity. You're limited to your own passion and how far you think you could go, and you end up stopping there. That's the worst place to be in life, is to only go to where you think you can go, and to not think further. How can I build this business? How can I grow this business? How can I go completely global at a level that nobody thinks I can do, that I never even dreamed of? You can. You absolutely can, and you have the responsibility to do so. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Since we're up here.
I can roll with it. Hey guys. Thanks, Adam.
Now we get back to some multifamily.
Yeah, we can talk about real estate. We can talk about some of the things that he's talking about in real estate. Everyone, I can't think of a better time to invest in multifamily right now, and the reason is because there's some good, bad, and ugly going on out there, and I just know that there's how many people here, I know a lot of people here are involved in multifamily, but I want to ask the question, how many people are here very new to multifamily? Oh, so it's not, I'll do it quickly. Do you know what syndication is? Okay, so you know what syndication is. We don't have to go into the very basics of stuff. Awesome. You guys are here for MIH because you know it. I want to keep this to be Q&A too. I like Q&A a lot. It gets interactive with people. I'll answer all your questions. For some of you that don't know who I am, Chris Jackson, CEO of Sharpline Equity. We have 1,600 units now, all self-managed. What that means is that about 3 years ago, we started to take on just managing the properties ourselves completely. We had done third-party management for most of our career, and it was very difficult to get the performance that we wanted out of properties. Self-management is not easy. Like when you do third-party management, it's like taking a cricket bat to the face every day, not being able to get what you want out of your property managers. When you self-management, the cricket bat is at least yours. You hit yourself in the face. All right, but it gives you control, allows you to pivot fast, and that's what's a differentiator of Sharpline. Let's talk about some of the good that's going on right now, why I think that multifamily is great to invest right now. I know there's some fear out there, there's some hesitation. It's good right now because sellers are starting to relent. It's literally started to happen. I feel like I have the pulse at least in Kansas City, but we're in a few markets. So I'm gonna say that I feel like they were hanging on last year, saying, you know what, interest rates are gonna come down. We have a favorable administration for real estate, and we can hold on, but interest rates didn't come down. They got choppy, and people got scared, and the sellers are starting to relent. It's not happening in the way that everybody's kind of dreaming of, like let's dump properties for 5 cents on the dollar, and it's just gonna be so easy that you cruise up like Dollar Store and buy, you know, your 100-unit apartment building for $10,000 a unit. It's not like that right now, but I'm starting to see it. All right, it's also the bad. Let's talk about the bad. Interest rates are kind of high, and they're fluctuating a little bit. We were kind of hoping that we'd get rates to buy real estate at like 5, maybe a little over 5. It's not happening. You're in the very high 5s and the low 6s on your agency debt. If anybody doesn't know what agency is, it's the best kind of debt you can buy a multifamily for. It's 30-year amortizations. Everybody hopes to buy with that. And you're in the low 6s now, high 5s. If you go to banks right now, you're going to be in the 7s-ish. So rates are still kind of high. That's bad. What's also bad is there's still competition. Okay? It's not going to be super easy out there to just go buy multifamily and just find it like going on LoopNet. It's starting to happen, but it means there's competition. Why is this also okay if there's competition? It means you can sell something. If you go buy something that's distressed and you fix it, you can go sell something and make a profit on it, okay? Like it means there's buyers out there. In 2010, 11, and 12, the problem was even if you had something that was great and you wanted to sell it, nobody was there. There's no buyers. Right now, there's buyers, so that's good. Multifamily is still getting sought after. It's a fantastic asset class, and if you do your job to get rents up and stabilize, you'll be able to sell it. Okay? The ugly of the multifamily market, the foreclosures have begun in some areas. And I know you've seen some of those things on in the news, but they're starting to happen a little bit more frequently, some bad operators. Like we're syndicators, and that syndicating, you guys all know, it means you're pulling money together and buying, and that happened with too many people, and they were bad operators. And now those bad operators can't hold on anymore, and it's the banks and their equity are telling them to sell. So it's starting to get to a place where if you know what you're doing, and you know which markets to go after, you can go start getting good deals. We're starting to see some opportunities that we've never seen in 10 years. I've been waiting for this. We have something, well, for those that don't know, we have most of our portfolio in Kansas City. We have some stuff in Columbus, we have some things in Oklahoma City, we have some things in Pennsylvania, but it's mainly about 1,000 units in Kansas City. It's a steady Eddie market. You're not gonna have the big fluctuations like maybe some of you have known about, exposed to, like Phoenix or something where it's like, whoa, like huge roller coaster stuff. So you're not gonna see as many distressed opportunities in, say, a market like Kansas City. I just got a call recently and we're looking at it. It's a 70s built, which is normally not something that we like because it's older. It's got problems. It's 40% occupied. It's got great unit mix. 1 beds, 2 beds, 3 beds, and even some 4 beds. It's 40% occupied, and the ones that are there for 40%, about half of them aren't paying. And I can get it for $25 a door. This thing's gonna go down to about 10% occupied, and you're gonna put about 40,000 into it. I would say it might be in for 65, 71 the highest. I mean, I think we can get this done for 61 a door in, and you can sell it for 80, 85 a unit in the future.
So what's that, 2 million, 3 million, how much CapEx on it, you think?
On the CapEx on that, we are calculating somewhere between 3 million and 3.8 for 135 units. And then this would not be a hold for us. This would be back to what some of you have maybe experienced with about 3 or 4 years ago with flipping apartment buildings. Like, this is the opportunities we've been waiting for, and they're here. You have to be in the market. You have to be knowing operators that have they have a grasp of the market. They have relationships. Lauren's going to talk about relationships and how important they are for both raising capital and also getting access to deals. But we would not be able to get even the call about this or somebody to take us seriously if we just were not in the marketplace. Okay? So, multifamily, how many people are here? Do you have any deals in here where you're an LP and it's like, I don't know if anybody wants to talk about it, but it's like, I know that you have to worry about your operators these days because some operators just didn't do well in multifamily, and it's really important with groups like this that you get to know your operators, and I think that's the most important thing, because in this market cycle where we're looking for opportunities, you're gonna find them in mainly distressed deals. The very big multiples of capital are gonna come from distressed deals, and that group should know what they're doing and have a track record to do it. You are starting to find some deals that cash flow. We have been lucky enough to find them because we're really good operators in Kansas City and we get access to them. They're harder to find, that you can walk in right away day one and start cash flowing. This is what we're kind of seeing. We don't have any other cash flow deal in our pipeline that's ready to come. It could come tomorrow, but it's just I'm not seeing it as much because the sellers that have those that are cash flowing day one are not really giving them up. I did talk about AI a little bit. I don't think I want to get into that just so I can weave that in if you guys have questions about it. But I do want to open up to Q&A. I like Q&A quite a bit. Does anybody have questions about anything that's going on in the marketplace or anything?
New development, how do you feel about where we are? You talked about multifamily, but I would still say that it's a short supply.
Short of supply for, like you're talking single-family homes or multifamily?
Multifamily specifically.
Multifamily, that's part of the good, I'm gonna say, is that because interest rates went so high so fast, and then they haven't really come down to a place where everybody was really hoping for. They're still kind of high. The builders have stopped. Okay, like the builders have gotten scared, and I don't see a lot of new supply coming on the market in multifamily. Permits are at their permits to build multifamily are at their lowest in like 50 years. So that means that in about a 2-year period, while we have rent growth going up, still slowly, some markets are higher than others. If you have a lack of supply, and we're seeing still inflationary forces with people's wages going up, rents are going to continue. And then what happens in 2 years when there's no supply? That will force rents to go up. I do think if rates come down, though, in the future, you're going to see the builders come back. So there is a timeline that you want to basically attack and get in on a good opportunity.
Here's another thing I want you to talk about.
Sure.
You discuss it every day. we were predicting when cost segregation was coming back, and there's reasons behind it. Me and him said, I was hoping October. So people want things easy. Everybody here wants cost seg to come back, because then it makes people get excited to come back to multifamily. It came back. But me and him, I'd rather it came back in October, November, because I want things to be hard, because me and him can find deals, because we're masters in multifamily. So coming back to cost seg, I think it's gonna create excitement. You're gonna have your doctors and everyone want to invest, it's gonna be easier to raise money. We're starting to get granular on it, me and him, analyzing it and analytics. What do you think about the cost seg coming back now versus October, November? Do you think it's good, or were you happy seeing it later, or it doesn't matter?
I'd like to see it come back this year. It'd be great for taxes for everybody.
It's coming back now, it already did.
It's not, it's a bill submitted.
Okay.
And it depends on how long it's going to take for the politics to, what do people give into. But I do think if it was to hit, I think it's gonna hit anywhere from 6 weeks to 3 months from now.
Yeah.
And if that happens, it retroactively gets applied to the beginning of the year. What that will create is an instant FOMO for people. Anybody that got into deals earlier this year, and then it's like, oh my gosh, I missed out on retroactive bonus depreciation. I don't know how, like, by a show of hands, does anybody want to hear what it really is? I mean, or do you guys all know it?
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
All right, so bonus depreciation, if you're a real estate professional, you get to access most of what the benefits are. So you basically take depreciation and you do a cost segregation study, and through some math of allocating various types of the components that make up the building, you're able to take a subsection of that, take a figure, and accelerate the 27 years into basically that year. And if you're a real estate professional, you take all of that in that year. And it's pretty fantastic for anybody that's a real estate professional. Where it works out the best is if you have 2 high income earners, one of which is a real estate professional, and the other is a W-2 earner. And that really helps out that household income from applying the bonus depreciation. So think about that FOMO that occurs of, oh gosh, I didn't invest because I wasn't getting depreciation, and then it hits. I do think the capital out there that was normally there for syndicators that now is not there because there's a lot of limited partners out there that are, you know, they're hesitant. They have some deals that aren't going that great with some of their operators, and they're hesitant. So like, if all of a sudden that comes back where, wait, all I care about is depreciation, you have more capital come in. Is it that moment that we just missed an opportunity? If it comes back, it's possible. I do think that we're gonna live in a space for about a year though, where you're gonna have, if bonus depreciation comes back, hope it does, and then that still doesn't help some sellers that are too far gone on their properties. You have this really awesome nexus point of being able to have the capital that you want to go grab it. Sellers that can't hang on, even though they have the good news they were hoping for, but can't sell for the price they want, and we can access those opportunities. So I would be careful about your markets that you pick. I still see markets out there that are highly distressed, but that are like strong markets, but if you buy for the debt of the property, it still doesn't really make a lot of sense and is scary. So I would just pick your markets correctly, but it's time to start looking around and be ready. Anybody else? Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, can you tell us some highlights on Kansas City, just in the multifamily market?
Did you say highlights?
Yeah, just some highlights of why you like Kansas City. I know you are such an expert.
You just got him excited, there's like 700.
Yeah. You don't have to go through.
I see him sitting there, I know Chris is like, all right.
Yeah, just some highlights of why you like the area.
Why did I choose that market? So I've had experience in other markets first, like Atlanta. Did well in Atlanta, but knew when to leave. I just felt like it was getting very frothy in Atlanta. There was just a lot of New York money coming to Atlanta. And we were in there saying, like this kind of sucks to operate in Atlanta. Like delinquency was kind of high, so we were like, okay, cool, we'll sell. And I had an education on the feel of the market first. And as we were saying to ourselves that we're going to leave Atlanta, I left Augusta too. We flipped an apartment building there that went to 30% occupied and brought it to close to 100 and sold.
And he's not gonna get into, we had to get a SWAT team monthly on the property to
I
get
did.
the drugs out. People were jumping out the windows.
We are prepared to do what we need to do to get occupancy.
Yeah.
I can
Literally
show, I
swap.
should have showed a picture on this, that would have been amazing. It's about 5 guys wearing all black, it's like night vision goggles.
$3,000 a month?
We paid $15,000 a month for 3 months. And then grandma came back and said, thank you for making this.
Like literally, people are jumping out of windows, running.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, like, I mean, you get tired of like trying the normal security. Like, okay, you're spending a lot per month, and it's just like the patrols are like, okay, cool, like nice patrol, what are you gonna do? So then it's like, all right, let's bring the heat, and you go spend the money, and freaking like people jumping out of helicopters practically, and like it's like, oh shit, these guys are serious.
Really swap.
And then you have the drug dealers and the bad people jumping out of windows, going like, oh crap, I don't want
So
to be
who
here
wants to
anymore.
invest in Sharpline dealers then?
So we take care of our properties and turn them around. But Augusta taught us too, have to leave Augusta. I don't think that this is where I want to be. So learning those types of things, I'm hearing about the Midwest. Oh wow, you can go buy for that price and you're actually cash flowing? No way. And then I went and I realized that I was about to miss a market, and I missed it for about a year, but I said I'm never going to miss that again because I had to feel the experience. And we freaking came in there and attacked. We did the opposite. We came in like SWAT team, not to get rid of drug dealers, but I was like, we're getting deals. And that proved correct. The reason why I like it is because it's a big enough city, 2 million plus people, approximately 1% growth per year. Like a wide variety of employers all around, and it's a city that can grow outward too. I mean, usually in the cities where you have super high hockey stick appreciation, it's because you have land mass issues and they can't go outward, and that's great. Like New York City, if you've got $10 million to burn and you're like, cool, I'm cool with losing $3 million in 3 years, like cool. And then you sit around and then all of a sudden you make the $3 million back and make 3, awesome, like go invest here. But that's not what we do. We want the cash flow. So Kansas City has that ability to like go outward slowly. And it's got pretty high average income for what you're paying per unit for the rents that you can get, and there's so much more growth. And I like that it's not like 15% in 1 year of rent growth. When that happens, oh man, the Californians show up. Who's from California? Is that you? You show up? When you show up, I'm like, oh man, the city's dead, we're done. Sell everything. No.
So guys, one other reason me and Chris went to Kansas City and started doing the deals was in 2020 we heard, hey, they're building an airport, not just an airport, a $4.5 billion airport, and we were buying before on purpose. As soon as the airport launches, what happens? Our properties are going to be worth so much more money. Okay. Not only does the airport launch, the NFL had a contract with Kansas City to do the NFL draft there, and who makes billions and gazillions of dollars? The NFL. So when the NFL does that, they something's going on with the town. The World Cup was going there. And here's another thing, I'm a restaurant guy. How do I know a market's good? When restaurants start going into a market, restaurateurs go where it's hot and where, like a guy in Cleveland, we own in Columbus, Ohio. Restaurateur closed 8 of his restaurants down in Cleveland, and where did he open them up? In Columbus, where we own property. Because I knew the market was going to be good. So then we look at analytics like that. So all this adds, there's so many dynamics that he looks at pop growth, even restaurants. I just had, Kansas City had a feel. I'm like, dude, this is the market we want to be in. I went to the Plaza area. I'm from Westchester, White Plains. White Plains is a high-end town. You go down Mamaroneck Avenue, the buildings are old, it's ugly, it's like run down it's dirty. You go to Kansas City, the Plaza area, the buildings, Ocean Prime's there now, all great restaurants are coming in. The roofs, all Spanish tiles. It is beautiful. Humble, Midwest town, not big money. White Plains where I grew up is supposed to be big money, like Harrison, Rye, Scarsdale, all that. And it's gorgeous. So I got there, I'm looking, and I do the analytics, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, this is just great. I love Kansas City. Kansas City was nothing before 2000.
They've also been talking, I mean, this is like a small thing, but it's a big thing within Kansas City. They've been talking about this trolley that's going to connect the southern part by the plaza to the northern part by downtown. And it's been kind of a joke inside of Kansas City. They're like, oh, they're working on the trolley, like that'll be up in 10 years, but it's actually getting finished right now. And what's interesting is, I mean, if you're from this area, you'll know about what like Hoboken, New Jersey was like 20, 30, 50 years ago. Like it's it's gonna completely transform the connection of Kansas City, and these areas that are part of the connection are gonna completely transform into like full Yuppieville. And we're looking, because we do self-management, we can take on big construction ourselves. I'm looking for some of those 10, 20, 30 units and go completely vacant with them and chuck 50,000 a unit into there and go high end. So that's why in Kansas City is steady Eddie. You're gonna get really good appreciation, but you can depend on it to be safe too. Like there's always gonna be somebody that wants to buy your building. It's not a place where you go to zero. That's what happens with a lot of these other markets is like you score it when you score, but when you have to hang on for 8, 10 years, you could go to zero because nobody wants your stuff. That's the difference of the big boom and bust market. So we decided to make a very big bet on self-management and control the asset and have these assets that produce cash flow, increase appreciation, and that we control it. Right now we have 1,000 units, so I suspect that in the next 5 years it'll go to 2,000 to 3,000 as we are getting first call on a lot of opportunities.
She's a question.
Yes?
So I understand from what you're saying, you see a lot of potential in Kansas City market, with slow, steady kind of expansion in the city and so on. Do you ever have any concerns about over concentration of your portfolio in one particular market? And if so, what are the other markets that you might be thinking about?
I'm going to answer that. You have to time that because the answer to your question is yes. But at the same time, though, I've seen what happens to other companies that try to spread to other markets to handle risk, and all they did was create it. They don't have the focus, and that created risk in itself. So I would say that we have stuff in Columbus, we have stuff in Oklahoma City. We're probably going to sell those off when the market turns, like it's turning now, so maybe in a year or two those are primed to sell. But our team is getting so much better at like tweaking everything. Every day we're just getting better and better. So I don't think it's a risk until maybe we're getting into the 3,000 unit zone, at which point our systems would be so dialed in that would be time to go apply those systems to another market. But I'm going to give that about 2 or 3 years minimum. Because I've seen what happens to ourselves when we went to other markets and it distracts you.
Yeah.
Like our Oklahoma City project was, I mean, this is why you see gray hair. I mean, we had to go in and rescue it, and that's the reality of real estate. The property is now, it went to 30% occupied. We got it to 97% occupied and refied it, made it safe and started to distribute, but it was because Sharplines are this bunch of badasses, and we went in there, fired everybody we needed to fire, and went in and did a lot of the stuff ourselves. So if you went and did that in too many markets, and you have too many issues that pop up, I don't know if you'd be able to actually apply your focus. So.
Presumably there are efficiencies with the scale that you have as well.
Yeah, now it feels a lot better that we have a lot more scale that you can go in and send some superstars in to help whatever you need to help. So, but I have to say no to other markets. If I was gonna look at other markets, which I'm not allowed to do right now, I've told that to myself for a few years, we're gonna crush Kansas City. I'm really good at picking other markets, so this is the most difficult thing for me to do, is to not go into other markets. But I think actually that was the problem of the last market cycle. The market cycle was helping all the syndicators by picking a market. They didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they got lucky with the market helping them. And now even in the good markets, you still have to operate. So I still think it's the operator's market and the operator's opportunity right now. But markets that I like, if I allowed myself to say yes, which I'm not, Chris, you're not allowed to go in these markets. Indianapolis. I think that would be killer. So don't bring me a 150 unit that allows me to enter into Indianapolis, because I'm going to be like, oh gosh. Because I like the Midwest. I think the Midwest, so I didn't have this thesis for Kansas City also, but it's turned out to work out really well. While yes, in the Midwest you can say twisters and all that stuff, that is a pretty isolated event. You have insurance for it. Yes, it's a bad day when it happens, but you have insurance for it. In other markets, West Coast, some in Texas, but people are starting to get good deals in Texas. Some people in the room are too. Florida, I know people are like, oh my gosh, like raising their eyebrows on Florida. You have insurance risk. It's tough to make deals work with, like, to protect yourself with the environmental risk. That is less in the Midwest. And I think that the big institutions are starting to also figure that out. And they are saying, where are we gonna be able to put our money for 10 to 15 years? Because you are adding that to kind of like your risk algorithm, if you will. So that's why we also picked the Midwest. So we got lucky with that. Anybody else?
Can you talk a little bit about your exit strategy and like how you determine what that's going to be and,
Sure.
what you wanna come out and how?
Yeah, for every project, it's gonna be different. Usually our hold periods are 3 to 7 years. We haven't made it to 7 on any. We've always sold within 5 is our kind of longest hold. We're selling one right now that we've held for 4 years.
So is that a particular target you're looking for, like in terms of numbers?
It's hitting beyond those numbers on this particular one. It was this one that we're selling right now. You're at the bottom of the market, so Chris, why are you selling? And you're still getting a great number. Just remember, every year that you wait, you still have, that's another year of 15, 20% you need to make. So if you're there thinking about your annualized return and you're at 4 years, it's the fiduciary to your investors. This is the time to go make them 20 to 27% annualized. And there's also a reason behind selling it too, which is this one property is about 45 minutes outside of our core in Kansas City, and we've done really well with it. It feels like we have to spend a lot of time and energy to make sure it stays that way. If we have a change in resources or a change in a maintenance or a change in property manager, it feels like will we be able to get this back to where it was? So therefore we're navigating that risk, and it's been operating like this for 2 years. We have a buyer, sell it, make money, like keep the investor returns churning. So the success and track record is there. And also, just operationally for us, when we have to send somebody out there on like Tuesday that you weren't planning on sending somebody out there, it's like you're killing 2 people's day of work to just go out there and do an HVAC. There's a limit to that working within a portfolio. So you just have to sell.
Here's another thing. You guys, for people who aren't really into multifamily, there's so many capital calls and foreclosures right now. I mean, so
Why?
many.
I have a question. What are the
Why?
operators?
Because
Yeah.
people bought in Houston, and we were going 8 best and final, overpaid, they're failing. A lot of beginners bought deals, they don't know what they're doing because they're not in MIH Mastermind. They're doing it on their own. Or Jake and Gino, or Rocket, they're not joining the right groups. People everyone wants to do it on their own. It's like, you pay $300,000 and $200,000 for college, and then they're afraid to spend $10,000 on to help them buy a multifamily, a $5 million multifamily deal. They go do it on their own. You had a lot of these beginner groups who they went to gurus, and they were not taught well. And they went out in Houston, and in 2019 on a deal, it was say $15 million deal. I called my brother, and I'm like, dude, there's 8 people best and final, and it's selling in fucking 3 days. I'm like, a deal's not supposed to sell in 3 days. So what they do, they paid $2 million too much, and that was a foreclosure. And so it's just why are we selling? We are gonna give it, say 22, I'll be modest, it might be 22 to 20% IRR. When people are failing, capital calls left and right, we're gonna post it, people aren't gonna believe it. Like, how did you guys do that? You sold when it's a multifamily recession and doing that. We just refied the 62 year. We're giving capital back to investors while all these syndicators are losing money. And so it's big, it's creating
the
momentum.
why of the capital calls is also like important. There's a lot of factors to multifamily. It could be it could be an and problem too. And what I mean by that is a multitude of problems at the same time. You can buy high and be like, oops, like pay too much, but then operate it really well and be really great with the capital and be fine in the future. Let time heal that wound. But if you bought too high, got the wrong debt, and you're a shitty operator, you're screwed.
They ran out of CapEx money. It's a really 2-hour question. They ran out of CapEx money. I know deals, but we have so many right now. I'm looking at please look at more deals. We have so many opportunities right now. It's crazy. And I'm not writing that cookbook until 2028 because now's the time for me to close deals. Like, and I wrote the Tracking Capital book. I didn't write it in 2021 by myself. I have self-awareness from Gary Vee. I'm self-aware of what's going on. Everybody wants to write a book and be famous, whatever. I said, you know what? It's time to close deals. It's time. 2021, 22 is time to close deals. I said I'm writing the cookbook. I'm writing a book with her. when the recession hits, and I warned everybody in my chat, November 2022, get your finances in order. 23, 24, 25, 26 is gonna be shit. They know I predicted everything. I predicted the 2007, 2011 to the T. November 2022 on the chat, I predicted everything to them. I said, get your finances in order, it's coming. And they're like, well, what's coming? And I predicted all that. And they think 24 is gonna be great. I'm like, nope. And I kept saying all that.
A lot of the issues I see with foreclosures is lately the wrong debt. You could be a fine operator, I mean, and it's
That's
just a
true.
matter of they got it
Yeah.
in 2021, I just saw one, they bought it in 2021, interest rate was 3.7% on 2-year debt. 2023 came around, despite the fact that the property, they've actually operated very well, but their cost of capital doubled.
And
They just can't keep it.
And Lauren, in addition to that, they didn't have the wherewithal to realize that that day was going to come and figure out a plan and put new debt on it. Like some, I think there was a lot of head in the sand too, that like hopefully just like, oh, like the election's gonna come and like people are gonna save us and multifamily's back. Let's just like, don't work out something. Don't do the hard work to go figure out the next debt. They just didn't do that. I mean, on our Oklahoma City project, we refinanced twice. And some investors were not thrilled because they knew that they weren't going to get distributions for 2 years like that. And we get it. It was like, would you rather lose your capital? No. So we were able to refinance it into better debt until ultimately we got to really safe debt and produce returns. And then the investors thanked us and said, wow. I think a lot of operators just didn't know that they had that arrow in their quiver to work through a problem.
It's an inexperience, not having the right coach or mentor, not doing enough education. I have 4,000 units, they're all self-managed, and I'm a student for life. I retired in 2020, and I do 2-3 hours of education every day. So in our group, I teach student for life, go-giver, family. Those are the 3 core principles we're teaching. And if I say that to my members, be a student for life. I'm the leader, I have to be a student for life. So that's the thing, is they're not getting
So I actually have 2 questions. Because you mentioned one of the deals you have, like you have like 25K or more. Are those like free foreclosure deals or?
No, it's not this particular, so when you have a so in the multifamily world, if you're in pre-foreclosures, it's not like you're calling, like, hey, this is a short sale. It's the bank is ready to take it over and they're calling their buddy first to go get and sink the teeth in. If you don't have that connect, you're not getting that. In this particular case, it's, this particular deal was low-income housing tax credits. It ended, or is ending right now, and this operator just sucked. And is going across their entire portfolio not doing well. And they need somebody that can show up and buy this for $25 a door. Why is Sharkline and Chris getting this call? Because it's it's a tweener, it's in between sizes that everybody cares about. Like, if it was 30 units, it would get bid up and every person would show up and pay cash for it. If it was 200 plus units, I'm not that high up in the food chain yet, I will be. But I'm not getting those calls yet. It's 150 units for $3-something million that needs $3 million of CapEx. There's certain lenders that are only gonna do that, and it's too big for the small and too small for the big, and perfect for us.
So is the connection with lender?
No, this one's actually, the seller is like, the lender's about to call, save my life.
And they just want to quickly.
Yeah, like, and what they can't have is a buyer that shows up and tries to play games at the end, and that's what funds do. Funds know that they'll go $500 million hard, meaning non-refundable, and at the last day of close, they'll actually gamble and say, I want $1 million off the purchase, we changed our mind. And the seller says, what are you talking about? I'll keep your $500,000. Good, keep it. You need $3 million. Like, it's a game. So if I can showcase that when I say I'm gonna buy this for this amount, I'm planning ahead to have surprises in all the inspection. We'll go get it inspected, but I'm not changing the price after that, unless something obviously super material changed. But like, that seller now is like, I'm gonna lose money, I know it, and I know I'm gonna go on this ride with Sharkline.
Last quick question. Should we wait to get more?
Oh yeah.
Chris, quick question here. So one of my favorites is Jay Abraham, and he really claims a lot of his success on the fact that he was able to look outside of his industry and what some of the other practices and trends are that were successful that he could bring into his industry that nobody else were. I'm curious to hear from leaders like yourself in this space, what are some of the trends in industries outside of real estate that you're focused on, that you get influence and inspiration from, that you're bringing into the success of your business?
I mean, I don't want to say the word that is going to just glaze over because everybody says it, but it is actually AI and correct automation, and it's actually maintenance. And that's like, we can talk about the things that are kind of easy, like go do your automated AI and customer experiences to scale yourself, but I actually want to talk about it in more technology for the maintenance side. You have there's not a lot of talent that's out there for the maintenance portion of this. It's a lost art. And you have to care for your maintenance team, and you have to give them the tools they want. I think what's gonna happen is, you're gonna start having like VR goggles for your maintenance techs, that you have Starlink going so they can go anywhere and you don't have to have your mesh network all dialed in on your property. Have Starlink, and you have a junior maintenance tech that's looking at something with heads-up display, talking to whoever you want as your expert that you just hired for $300 an hour to go fix your problem, and you just saved yourself 50 grand. That's the way that this is gonna happen. We're also gonna get into, like painters are the worst. They're like super high all the time, like huffing their stuff. It's pretty crazy. And you can't right now robot AI paint. The templates that you need to load into an AI framework is too different for older buildings. However, in a new build, if you have a templatized view of every single floor plan being empty and you load it into an AI robot that paints, it's actually better than a human. I think in the next 5 years, if you start doing 3D analyzation of your properties, keep them and you can actually load the templates into an AI painter. We'll pay $100,000 for that robot, pay $2,000 a month, and it will be reliable, and it will work 2 shifts, and it won't complain and tell me that it got drunk last night.
All right, guys. Let's
ready, Lauren? I do just want to give Lauren props here because Lauren came on to Sharkland about 2 years ago. Is that right? A year ago?
No, it was like 6 months ago.
Oh my God. It feels like forever, but she's been an investor in Sharkline, then she took over investor relations, and she did an amazing job on the capital raise recently on a great deal that we had, cash flowing deal. But equity is hard to raise, and she did wonderfully, and it takes a team to get this stuff done right now. It's not easy out there, and you did awesome.
Okay, I know you've all been sitting for a while, so I promise I won't take too long, but I think this is a really great topic to close on because it's relevant for everyone in this room, and it's building relationships to grow your real estate portfolio. It's imperative to understand, and I truly believe real estate is the most dependent on people industry. I've been in other industries, and it is all about who you know. The best deals go to people through people they know. The best debt terms come from lenders who know you. The best investor relationships, it's all about relationships. So, like I said, more than any other industry, it is imperative to have relationships if you want to grow. No matter what side, if you're sitting here and you just plan to be a passive investor, if you're an operator, if you're a lender, you're a real estate agent, whatever you are, this is very relevant to you if you want to grow your business. Because the reality is, people want to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And that's the beauty of it. If you're a likable person, if you're not, it gets a little bit more difficult to grow your business. So before I go into it so I can know what's in the room, raise your hand if you're a passive investor or plan to be. Okay, great. And then what if you're anyone in your real estate operator, business operator? Okay, most of the people, which is what I thought. Okay, a lender? Mike was in here. Yeah, we're private money lenders. And then real estate agent. Any agents in here? Yeah. Okay, so that gives you an idea of the kind of people in here. So before I go into the depth of it, I want to give you a little bit of background on myself. I live in Los Angeles, here in California. I live in Los Angeles, and years ago when my husband and I decided I was going to start really diving into growing our real estate portfolio, we knew we couldn't do it in Los Angeles. Very similar to here, it's very expensive, the landlord laws are horrific. I knew I wasn't going to do it there, but I knew no one in the industry, and really intentionally invested in real estate. So I just started doing my own research, and I said, all right, Middle Tennessee looks like a good place. I found an agent, there's one commercial agent that would even take a call from me, and I said, I set an appointment, and I flew out to Nashville, and I was very excited. Very. I had a pocket full of cash. I was ready to buy real estate. And wow, did I learn really quickly how this goes. I knew no one. I didn't know anyone. This one commercial agent took a call from me and did show me around, but I realized really fast that the moment anyone learned I was from California, the price went up 20%. And I'm sure people in New York have had similar experiences. The moment that people think you swim in money if you live in these states, it's wild. My guys, I don't know. I quickly realized that I was not going to get access to any deals. I wasn't, not good ones. I mean, they would sell me whatever no one else locally wanted, but they were not going. I had no relationships, and the reality was the ability for me to create those relationships really required me to be local. I felt to really get those deeper relationships. So I learned the quality of your relationships equals the quality of your deals. And so a lot of people ask me, how did I bridge that? And it's not a commercial for MIH, but it was MIH that bridged that for me. How did I go from being a wannabe investor in Los Angeles to a really intentional, scaled investor in the Midwest? And it really came from the relationships I made from people in this room. So many of you are probably saying, okay, duh, I need relationships, great. But what from there? Like, how does this build? And I really, really, really want to drive home today, especially as we're all in this room, perhaps some of us are going to Artie's after this, the importance of being intentional about building your relationships. It's not just a matter of, yeah, sure, I'll show up and I'll come to a call once in a while. You really need to think about, what am I trying to achieve? And be intentional about making those connections with people. And the crux of building quality relationships is trust. And trust takes time to build. You don't get that overnight. But once you have it, once you've built trust, whether you're an investor or a real estate agent or a business and real estate operator, whoever you are, whether you're just trying to raise children, you need to build trust with them. And so it's a very, very similar way, it's a similar thought process. And okay, I know I need to build quality relationships. Quality relationships are built on trust. Okay, what next? So I promise this is the only slide I'll read to you, but building trust involves demonstrating trustworthiness through consistent actions and behaviors that align with one's words and promises. I can't stress this enough, especially in this relationship. It's a people-driven industry. If people don't trust you, word gets around and you're not going to be able to achieve whatever it is you're trying to achieve. So you've got to be open to communication, willing to admit mistakes. What Chris just said, Oklahoma City, it was cricket bats to the face for years. You gotta be honest. And I actually was meeting with an institution a few months ago, and they said that if any operators out there telling you everything they've ever touched is turned to gold, we're out of here. We know that's not true. We want to be dealing with people who are going to be honest, open, and transparent. So you've got to take responsibility for your actions, even if it doesn't go as well as you think. And this applies to everybody. If you're a passive investor, you have to trust that the operator is going to be a good steward of your capital. And if you're a real estate agent, you have to trust that in good faith, that operator, that buyer is going to close. Do the best to close. Obviously things happen, but you really have to, the real estate agent has to trust that you'll close. That's why I couldn't get any good, decent meetings in Nashville, because nobody knew me. And they didn't trust that I could do what I said I was going to do. Lenders need to trust that you're not going to default.
In addition to just not defaulting, they have to know that you know what you're doing. Like Lauren and I were talking about this, that you build trust with your lender too, so that they can be there as a lender for your next property. That's kind of easy to think about, but we just had a situation that I never thought would have come up from a relationship with a lender. They called me up and said, hey, you're about to get on a conference call in 30 minutes if you can do it. Well, what are we talking about? Is it a deal that we have? No, it's actually a deal that we're going to lend on for somebody else. Great, why are you calling me? Like, well, you know Kansas City really well, and we've done a lot of calls with you, so you just want me to jump on and tell you if this deal is okay for somebody else? Yeah, that'd be great. I get on, and it's the entire credit department at CBRE. And they're like, you ready? I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess so. And I tell them, like, I think that they're about to lend like $60 million to this group, and that it's actually a pretty good deal. And I was like, do you think you can lend that to me next time? And they're like, yeah, when you're ready for $60 million deals, we will. So gave them the information they wanted to know, build trust. I know Kansas City really well. Thank you very much, Chris Jackson. 2 hours later, I get a call from CBRE that we're working on a refinance for another deal. They say, Chris, you impressed the group so much that deal that we're refining right now, we're gonna move the DSCR from 1.25 to 1.1 for you. It increased the entire proceeds of the loan by about $400,000 because of that call. Never in a million years thought that kind of relationship, knowledge-based thought leadership would yield spread compression and then money. So I could have been like, oh, why am I on this call? It doesn't benefit me, and then that wouldn't have happened.
Again, relationship building, right? And I do think real estate operators, business operators have it the most difficult because you need to build trust with investors, you need to build trust with your lenders, you need to build trust with real estate agents. You've got a lot of people that you need to build that trust with, and it's time consuming. But the beauty is once you build the trust, you're in. And I have investors who continuously have invested with me over and over again, and I had an investor the other day, I said, I want to tell you about this deal. He's like, I'm in, it's fine. I'm like, well, no, I'd like to tell you about it, but I appreciate the trust, you know? So that is that kind of thing that's really important to build, and you can really scale once you have it. So I'm gonna give some very specific examples of building trust in real estate, and building trust as a passive investor. If you're out there, and I know a lot of people are pretty active in this room, but if you're a passive investor and you're here in New York, and you don't have any, you're a doctor, you're told this is not your world at all, but you really do want to put your money to work, and you've got capital, you want to be the first call. That was something I realized living in Los Angeles. I didn't know anyone. No one was calling me. I had money I wanted to put somewhere, and no one was calling me. It's because I had no relationships. You know, now it's a situation where if you're someone who's sitting on capital, maybe one of these coastal cities, and you want to get into real estate, and you want to invest in the Midwest, you want to be the first person they think of when a deal comes up. So that's a really important thing, and that comes from building trust. How do you build trust? Show up at events. Show up at events like this. Last week at First Sharp Line, we hosted an investor event in Kansas City. You know what? Those investors that came and took the time to spend time with us and see our operation, they are the first people I'm going to call the next time I have a deal. And if I only need $1 million, I'm only calling 2 of them. So like the fact that like you want to show up to these events, break bread a bit, get to know people. And then the other thing that's so important is your word is gold. If you say you're going to invest and you tell an operator, I'm in for $200,000, and I just looked at Hannah because she knows, if you say I'm in for $200,000, then be in for $200,000. There is nothing worse than it's time to wire, I actually changed my mind, because that puts all of us in the lurch. So don't do that. If you're in, let your word be gold, because again, that's what builds trust. And this is just an image of our investor trip that we took last week. But you as a passive investor, if that's what you want to be, need to be building trust.
And Lauren, it's okay to say you're unsure and you need more information and talk through it. It's better to be unsure and figure out what are the unsureties as opposed to, it's almost like in passive investing, it's like people liking, I want to say that I am investing, but then it's like I'm actually scared. It's better to be transparent.
Yeah, someone pulls out on me at the last minute, they're never getting a call from me again. You know? And that the trust is gone, right? Yeah. The trust is gone. So consistent presence and communication is key to building trust with your investors, lenders, and agents. That's for real estate operators. So if you're operating real estate and you're operating a business, you need to be able to have trust amongst all of the parties involved. So that sounds very simple. Email, phone, and text. Regularly just staying in front of people, it really, really, really does mean something. And I'm going to tell an example about Mr. Potok over here, because he is so good at this. He is someone he's a natural extrovert, but he is someone who really will keep in touch with people. And I'll give an example of Potok Golf Club, which he closed February 28th, newly called Potok Golf Club. He closed February 28th. Ryan and I have been friends for 2 years, but he kept me, we were talking about his golf club for a year prior to his closing. He got it under contract in November. When we got it under contract, he talked to me. I have a personal rule, I don't invest with operators that aren't full-time real estate or aren't full-time in the business. Ryan still has his W-2. I told him pretty quickly, I'm not gonna be an investor in this one, call me on the next one. But he and I are very close, and once a week, or twice a week, I would get a voice memo from him throughout the contract period. November to February 28th when he closed. I would get a message from him. Hey, the lender approved me for X, I'm really excited. Hey, this TikTok golf influencer is gonna come and help me market the property. Quick 1-minute voice memos, really good. But so much so that I remembered it. Now, he knew I wasn't gonna be an equity investor, but he also knows I private money lend. So, Ryan's very good at this, again, continuously kept me updated throughout the contract period. He closed February 28th, that was the scheduled close. February 25th, he calls me and he says, Lauren, one of my SBA loans isn't gonna fund in time. And the seller had already extended for me. And he told me if Ryan doesn't close February 28th, he's gonna keep the golf club to the spring. And he said, I need $300,000. And because he kept me updated for 4 months leading up to this moment, I felt like I knew the deal. So in 48 hours, we got the promissory note, scheduled the lien, and I wired him $300,000. He has since paid me back, and all is well. But the point is, that's phenomenal communication by a business operator. Someone who's just continuously staying in front of people, because you just never know, as we all know. Things come up at the very end. So it's really, really important if you've got people, investors, agents, lenders, make sure they don't forget about you. The other thing is online social media presence. This is its own talk, but we all have to remember we have an online presence. I was also talking to Hannah about that this week. Our online presence matters, and it generates real business. So Google yourself, make sure when it pops up, things that you want to pop up is popping up. Get on social media. I had an investor call with a CFO of a pretty large company fairly recently, and while I was pitching him the deal, he was looking me up on Instagram and on LinkedIn. And he told me he was doing it. He's like, I'm looking at you. I was like, okay. So he just wanted to make sure what I was saying was congruent with what the online presence was. So again, that's a whole other conversation, but very important. Swift responses. As a business operator, as a real estate operator, if you want people to trust you, get back to them quickly. Don't wait 3 days. Like if you want, one of the first 2 LP investments I made was from an operator that I was just so impressed with how responsive she was. She was so fast. So I never felt like I asked a question and it went, a day with a response. And I figured if that's how she was pre-investment, that's how she would be post-investment, and it absolutely was the case. So that's a really important piece, pre and post-investment. Just respond quickly. Networking an in-person event like this, be intentional, get into Zoom calls, get in front of people. As I've said many times, again, if you're trying to build trust in this space, there is so much money out there looking for places to go. So a lot of people in this room are active real estate operators. There's so much out there looking for quality operators. So always keep that in mind. And also to closer reputation, I know Chris and I have talked about this too. One of the things that Sharpline what's gotten us, the deals that we have is that if we get it under contract, assuming no horrific thing is discovered, we will close at the price we said we would. And that is a very, very important thing when you're building trust in a community. And then last, again, could be its own talk, but post-close investor communication. If you are a real estate operator or a business operator, that's a really important piece a lot of people forget about. Like if they hear from you once a month in some way, a newsletter, whatever it is, even a text, we got to 95% occupancy on a really tough deal. I text that to my investor. Look, we had a great communication amongst our maintenance staff. I screenshotted from Slack and I sent it to some of our investors. They love that. They love to feel a part of the communication. So it's very important. So if you're a lender trying to build trust, I know there's only a couple of us in here, so I'm not going to get too into this, but I'm a private money lender, and I know you said you lend as well, but you gotta, once you build a trust with people borrowing from you, they'll keep coming back to borrow from you, and that's the point here. So again, swift responses. I know, for example, Chris got a call from an agent about the distressed 130 unit this week, and he got a call and he immediately called over to one of his lenders and said, is this something high level that you could do? And the lender said, yeah, we could do it for you. All right, check that off. But why did he so quickly say, yeah, we could do something like that for you, Chris? It's because he has the trust, the lender trusts him.
Also, quick response to now the agent saying that I've already called the lender and that this is not pie in the sky. I'm already top dog of being the possibility to take this down because I've already done some of the work.
Yeah, and then communicate each step of the way. We had a deal that we were closing on a Friday, and on a Wednesday, the lender said, you need another 70 grand to close. Like, it's things like that. I know Ryan had an issue with like that too. So as the lender, I know it's not always in control, but in someone's control, but communicating each step of the way, if there's any possibility of this, so we ensure that we're capitalized appropriately. And then, be transparent on loan terms, timelines, costs. The last thing anyone wants is, again, a capital need that wasn't expected at the time of close. So again, just going all back to if you want to build trust, you want to build trust as a real estate agent. These are I'm just giving you tools on, depending on where you sit in this room, the different things that you can use, different ways that or tools in your toolbox to build trust. So if you're an operator and you're depending on real estate agents to find you deals. So in order to find deals, I think one of the quickest ways to lose trust, and I start ignoring emails, is when an agent starts sending me things that are not in my buy box. And I've told them that. I only want this through this. If I say I only want to buy 2000 or newer, don't send me a 1970s product. I think a lot of agents kind of just want to get a deal done and they forget, but you lose trust so fast with your operators if you're sending them crap. And be transparent even when news isn't good. That's I think goes without saying. And then the last thing is the social media online presence for a real estate agent. I do think it's quite important. Like you want to have a very genuine online presence when you're out there trying to go to a business. So we can wrap this up by saying building quality, trusting relationships is imperative, especially in real estate where it's all that. But the other piece of it is really important is that it leads to both repeat business and referrals. So I cannot tell you how wonderful it is when I get an existing investor who sends me a happy existing investor who sends me someone. It's the easiest person in the world to talk to because they've already been referred over to me, and 99% close rate on people like that. So the referrals are incredible. Repeat business that you get. Ryan, I'll go back to Ryan, like he's building a reputation in his community as a young guy closing golf courses. So he's meeting with sellers and he's building that relationship and talked even about how to market himself in that way. So it's really important to build these quality, trusting relationships, take the time to be in rooms like this, like you're doing, and then leveraging those relationships to build your business and garner referrals. So, yes, so that's all. I'm going to go quick. I'm Investor Relations Manager for Sharpline. If you're interested in making any passive investments, come talk to me, schedule time with me. I also am pretty active on social media and I educate on there, mostly for people who are a little less experienced than the people in this room, but maybe you could find some nuggets if you're trying to post on social media and get some ideas.
All right. Thank you very much. All the speakers were amazing. And now it's time for us to prepare for the closing today, our event. But this is not the end. We have, what should we call it? Like, we didn't reserve, but they said there will be a space. There's a bar called R8, back room and rooftop. It's a very nice rooftop, about 3 blocks away from here. So we'll just walk. Did I send the address to you? But Google Maps?
Put it in the chat.
Yeah, well, I'll put it in the chat. But Erica, are you leaving? No, right? No, I'm gonna close by giving this one story. Where's these 2 ladies? Oh, Grace, Amelia, right?
Yeah.
We met today for the first time, right?
Yeah.
How did you come here?
Through Erica.
Okay, Erica. We've been known for probably close to a year by now or so, right?
Yeah.
How do we meet?
G1.
Okay, where's Yuan? Okay, it's Yuan. So you introduced Erica to me, I introduced Erica to Marco. So that's how Erica joined MIH. Yuan, how did we meet?
Bigger pockets.
Okay, Bigger Pockets. 5 years ago, I posted one post. She DM'd me about a year.
So I got Erica because of you, so I have to buy you.
Yeah. So the point I want to make is this: she DM'd me. She read my post. She could have been just like, oh, okay, just one of the deal posts, and then she could have just moved on. But she thought about reaching out to me, and she didn't stop there. She reached out to me. And we started building a relationship for the last about 3-4 years. We've been on a Zoom call. We had meet for a coffee chat and things like that. And then she introduced me to Erica. And now through that, Grace and Amelia are here from Iowa for the first time meeting me. So you see this little action leads to the next action, And today, I think the whole concept of today's event could be boiled down to power of connection, relationship, right? I want you to build that, and then maybe next year and for the next 5-10 years, make partnerships here, good friends here, good mentors and mentors here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We're gonna have a group photo outside. There's a cafeteria